Across the UK, online and on DAB.
A new kind of talk radio. We'll get you talking. Talk radio.
You know me, dear listener. I am a radio anorak, and the thrill of following George Galloway on a Friday, it's second to none. I love it. Busy show this evening. Miles Johnston is coming up. He of the Nazi Bell.
Late night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road, it's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. Down this road that never seems to end. When new adventure lies just around the bend. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's old style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, the whole world is my home. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's old style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. There's a world that's waiting to unfold. A brand new tale no one has ever told. We've journeyed far but you know it won't be long. We're almost there and we paid our fare with a hobo song. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's old style. Maybe tomorrow I'll find what I call home. Until tomorrow, you know I'm free to roam.
Hello, dear listener. Late nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio. We should be speaking to our guest, Miles Johnston. But we can't seem to get hold of him. Now, far be it from me. We're trying a new angle on Periscope. I'm going to move you around in a little bit because I've got my back to you and I apologise. Miles, of course, speaks eloquently about conspiracy. If I say conspiracy theories, that's quite a lazy shorthand, but you know what I mean by it. Miles, I think it would be fair to say, is a believer that perhaps we are not being told the truth about certain things, that there are dark, mysterious forces at work. If you remember last time he came on, we spoke for an hour about a gentleman, I think his name is Max Spears, a gentleman who investigates these kind of things, who died suddenly abroad. And Miles is convinced that Max was murdered by black magicians. He also came on and spoke about super soldiers, and the Nazi Bell and all kinds of weird and wonderful things. Stuff that I didn't know about at all. Stuff that I don't know if I necessarily believe in, but it's certainly worth talking about these things and certainly worth hearing other people's opinions. And I found Miles absolutely fascinating. It was like sitting at the feet of a grand old storyteller, and I thoroughly enjoyed him telling us his things. Anyway, Miles is booked to come on tonight at 10 o'clock. And I've been talking with him over Facebook, and it's all been confirmed and stuff. We're trying to get hold of Miles now, and we can't get hold of him. Now, What does that mean? Has he forgotten? Maybe. Technical problems? Yeah, possibly. People don't want him to speak and tell us the truth? It's worth thinking about, isn't it? So, we don't know. So we're going to keep trying, Miles. I've messaged him. He's not replied to my message. I've posted on his Facebook page just to let him know, and we will keep our fingers crossed, and we will hope and pray that everything is all right with him, and that he hasn't been silenced. Interestingly enough, actually, I did see something on his Facebook page. Let me see if I can find it. Let me find it. So there's a film coming out, actually, about Max Spears on BBC. It's going to be tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow. It's on tomorrow night on the BBC. 4 episodes. But he also posts something. Here we go. Friday at 10 p.m, join Iain Lee in conversation with Miles Johnson on Talk Radio. So he knows it's happening. But he posted something about the truth being out there and that his life could be in danger. I'm trying to find that. I'm trying to find that post on his Facebook page because it is actually, it's quite chilling. Just bear with me a second, dear listener. You know what this show is like. We like to show you that. No, I could talk to a caller and while we do this, but I like to show you the workings out. I like to pull the curtain to one side and show you what's going on. Oh, I can't find that post. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Anyway, fingers crossed, everything is all right with Miles. He's been messaged. He has been called. I can see the team calling him now. Let's see what happens, shall we? In the meantime, while we wait, 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Now, one of the things I want to talk about, we're going to look at this over the coming some shows next week. By the way, some amazing guests line up. Can someone remind me to tell you the guests later on? Here's an odd quirk of radio law, spelled L-O-R-E and L-A-W. You're not allowed to conduct a séance live on the radio. So I could now invite Kath and Ed in, even if they wanted to, hold hands and say, right, we're going to imagine ourselves bathed in a white light, and we're going to... You're not allowed to do that. I couldn't bring in a Ouija board, for example, and say, right, well, I've got the Ouija board, and I've got the planchette, the pointer, and we're going to try and see if we can contact the dead. We couldn't do it. We're not allowed to do it. And I don't know why, right? I don't believe you can contact the dead via a séance or via a Ouija board, okay? So if I were to do it, it would simply be a little bit of theatre. It'll be a bit of theatre. A little play, a scene, right? If you go on to Amazon and type in Ouija boards, they're listed under toys and games. It's owned by Waddingtons. Hasbro are selling them. I think Hasbro own Waddingtons now. I think they bought them. But you can buy them. 15 quid, 30 quid. All different kinds of... all different kinds. Here we go. And let me find the one that's by Hasbro, because I want to read to you some of the comments. And yet, we are not allowed, for whatever reason, to buy this Ouija board for 35 quid by Hasbro from Amazon under toys, children's department. Bring it in. I'm not allowed to play a children's toy on the radio. If I did, it would be an Ofcom, right? An Ofcom is the regulatory body that governs radio. I've never had an Ofcom upheld, okay? Some people make Ofcoms because they're thoroughly offended or upset by the show. Some people complain to Ofcom because they don't like me and they want to, you know. I've never had an Ofcom upheld. Why? Because I know the rules. I know what you can get away with. I know what you can't get away with, okay? But if I were to get this child's toy and bring it in, take it out of the box, set it up in front of me on the desk here where you could see it on the periscope, and start and put my fingers on the pointer and say, is there anybody there? If one of you made a complaint to Ofcom about that, it would be upheld. It would be my first upheld complaint in 15 years of radio broadcasting. We'd have to issue an apology. I'd have to apologise on air. It's quite possible that the radio station would get a fine for it. And I cannot for the life of me work out why. Because you can't talk to people who are dead. You can't do it. So by having a little bit of play acting, by improvising a scene, by getting a children's toy and having a go at it, I could get in serious trouble. I could lose my job. I could lose my job and get landed with a fine of several £1,000s. Imagine that. And I do not know why. So, here's the thing. If you know why, let me know. We're going to try and get someone from Ofcom to come on the show next week to see if they can explain it to us. And this isn't anyway, I'm not having a go at them at all. You know, I'm big fans of Ofcom. I think it's important we have a regulatory body that are fair. And I think they're fair. But I would like to know, is it just like, you know, you get those laws in America, right, that says, you can't marry a Dutchman, but you can marry a sheep. And you trace the law back, and it goes back to like 1773 or something, and it's a silly law that no one's bothered to repeal, you know. Or where is it in here where you're allowed to shoot a Scotsman within the is it York? There's a town or a city, Chester, you're allowed to shoot a Scotsman with a bow and arrow within the city's walls. You're allowed to do that legally. And it's just one of those silly laws that's been around forever and no one's bothered to go, well, do you know what? We should get rid of that law. It's just there. It's just there. And so I've got to think that in their infinite wisdom, the reason that Ofcom would throw a paddy if I had a seance is it's got to be one of those old rules from, I don't know, the 1930s. Kath, can you see when Ofcom was set up, please? Because I'm saying the 1930s. I can't imagine they've been around. I'm going to guess that the regulatory body was formed in, I'm going to say 1968. No, I'm going to say later, 73. Because before that, when was it, Kath? She's going to type it on to my screen. 2002, flipping heck. Because, of course, in the 60s, 50s and 60s, it was the Lord Chamberlain, wasn't it, that would have monitored things like that. The very same reason that books like Lady Chatterley's Lover got banned. Is it the Lord Chamberlain that was responsible for that? I'm tiptoeing around the edges of my social history. And they would have been responsible for anything that was obscene, that was broadcast on television or radio or published in books. So hang on, if Ofcom only goes back to 2002, then where the hell does this rule come from that you can't have a séance on the radio? Do you remember we went to a haunted pub? Me and Kath went to a haunted pub. Some of you were good enough to pop along and support us there. We were allowed to broadcast from the pub. We were allowed to record a séance going on, but we could only have broadcast bits of it. So where does this come from? How does this work? Why is that rule there? It's not because there is something in it, is it? Is it? No. It can't be. It's something we're going to look at over next week, because I find it fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. But saying that, if you want to call in tonight with your stories, it's a Friday. It's, it's the weekend. Weird things happen on a Friday night. If you want to call in with your stories about seances, about Ouija boards, about the time you and your mates thought you'd light a candle and sit in a circle and hold hands just for a laugh, about going to see a medium, can you give me a call? I think it's appropriate, considering our guest, Miles Johnston, who has been booked for a few days, who knows about this show, who is a speaker, he would say, of the truth. Seeing as we can't get hold of him, mysterious circumstances? Yeah, it might be, might not be. Makes you think, though, doesn't it? Makes you think that someone who speaks out about unusual forces and great mysteries, someone who is booked to come on this show, isn't around, isn't answering the phone. 0344 499 1000. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. I want to hear your stories about seances and Ouija boards.
Late night conversation worth losing sleep over.
Iain Lee.
On air and off the leash.
On Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
I'm reminded, of course, that you can't broadcast the hypnotists. The part of the hypnotist show where they put people in a trance. And I can understand that because the fear is the listener might go into a trance. You know, I used to be a stage hypnotist. You know that, don't you? When I was at college in the first year at university, one of the first acts, I was always kind of fascinated by hypnotism. Alan, I'll come to you in a bit. 0344 499 1000. I'm on a bit of a roll, though, guys, so just stick with me. If you're watching on Periscope, by the way, you'll see books by 3 guests we have coming up very, very soon. So there's you can have a look at those. But I kind of always wanted to learn how to be a hypnotist. And my first year at university, one of the first acts that was booked was Hugh Lennon. Hugh Lennon was this hypnotist, right? And I was there, man. I was there, front row, watching it. And he invited people, obviously, to come up on stage. I went up. I got hypnotised. I was out for 2 hours. I've got it on video as well. I'll dig that out and put bits of it on YouTube, not the whole thing. Got it somewhere. I was hypnotised for 2 hours, and it was the most wonderful feeling. It was like okay, here we go. So basically what happens is there's about 20 of you on, 16 of you on stage, 8 of you on seats, 8 standing up, and you get to look up at a dot, and you look at a dot on the ceiling, and he tells you you're getting sleepy and your eyes are getting heavy, you do all that kind of stuff. And then he sort of, as the first half an hour is the hypnotist weeding out who's going to go under and who isn't going to go under. And I went under. And the feeling, it's the most extraordinary feeling. It's like being stoned, right? It's like being stoned, except when you're stoned, your mind is kind of all over the shop. But when you're hypnotised, your mind is focused on one thing, 2 things maximum, but generally one thing. And it is the one thing the hypnotist tells you. So when the hypnotist says, when you hear Jailhouse Rock, you're going to become Elvis, that's it. That's the only thing you can focus on. You can't focus on anything else. When my favourite trick to do as a hypnotist, and I never tire of seeing this, is when the hypnotist says, when you wake up, you're going to forget the number 7. And it's such a joy to see someone completely oblivious going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. And they don't think anything's wrong. And then they get to count their fingers. And they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's such a joy to see. Now, here's the thing, right? You don't forget the number 7 exists. It's just kind of, it's so hard to describe. The number 7 is just a bit, it's just sort of moved into a different place, if that makes sense. Of course it doesn't make sense. I'm trying to explain a really abstract concept. You know that there is a number 7 sort of, but it's not important to you. There we go. It's not important to you. It's not relevant. So you kind of just push it out of the way. What's important is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. That's what's important. And being hypnotised is such a joy. I loved it. And here's the thing. After the show, I sort of became a bit of the sort of, you know, you're a talking point for a couple of days because you're the guy that went up. What did I do? I was Elvis. There's the thing where he becomes invisible. I can't really remember. It was 22 years ago. Sweet Lord. 23 years ago. And afterwards, you know, people wanted to talk about this stuff. And I became obsessed with it. And I managed to track down the video of it, which featured Hugh Lennon putting people under, so I could just watch again and again and again how he did it. And I was timing it, and I was watching what he was doing with his fingers and how he clicked his fingers, and I was watching where he stood, and I was watching how sometimes he'd just drop his voice for no reason and go quite quiet, and then he'd get a bit louder again. Watched all of that, and I learned how to do it. And I got a book, and there were 2 pages in this book. I got my friend Simon, and I read these 2 pages of this book to him. And he was under. He was out. It was a joy. And so I did it for quite a long time. And me and my friend Michael Armitt, the gentleman who filmed that Hugh Lennon escapade, was also at the college, a year or 2 above me, I think. He now works at the BBC. I think he produced Crime Watch for a long time, and then maybe the One Show, I don't know. But a lovely gentleman. And we worked up a hypnotism act, and we would go to pubs and clubs and say, do you want a hypnotist show this evening? We'll do it for 75 quid. And some of them would go, no, that sounds dodgy. And some of them who didn't know the law and didn't realise you needed a licence for each performance would go, yeah, we'd love it if you came to our pub and did a hypnotism show. And let me tell you, dear listener, there is nothing more, and we were 21, kids. I remember for some of them I wore some clear glasses to make me look more intelligent. There is nothing more frightening. We had a call there. I don't know where that call's gone. We'll get them back. There is nothing more frightening than standing in a pub in front of 200 people, inviting people up on stage, and only 4 people come up, knowing you've got to keep one of those people on stage. Because if one of those people doesn't go under, you're screwed. You haven't got an act. If one of those people doesn't go under, you've got to go, well, thanks very much, guys. That's not worked. And you've wasted 30 minutes of people's time in a pub. Imagine. So you're standing in a corner of a pub with no act, inviting drunk, rowdy people up on stage, into the corner of a pub. People who want to prove that you can't do what you say you can do. People who want to prove that hypnotism isn't real and that you're just some lanky tosser who can't do what he's promised to do. And I was doing that at the age of 20. Imagine, at the age of 20. And I didn't have any, this is how I learnt a lot of the chops for this kind of stuff. I didn't have anything. I hadn't done stand-up at that point. Hadn't done, I'd done hardly anything live in front of an audience apart from acting. So to be there with no act, I don't think, me and Michael would take it in turns. One of us would be like the tech op and do the tape recorders and stuff like that. And the other one would do the act. And we'd kind of take it in turns. I don't think nobody ever went under. I think we did it with, I think the lowest number was 1. I think we had 1 person. You can't get much of an act out of 1 person. But we did it, and we must have done, I don't know, 30, 40 of those shows doing that. And there'll be some people listening and go, hypnotism is not real, it's nonsense. Well, I don't know. All I know is when I was hypnotised, and I've been hypnotised loads, when I was hypnotised, I felt compelled to do what was told of me, and it felt completely natural. There was always, I got hypnotised by Paul McKenna a few times as well. There was always a thing that I would never have done anything that I didn't really want to do. It's weird. It's like when you hypnotise, your subconscious comes round to the front and your conscious goes round to the back a bit. But every now and then your conscious will just pop round just to check that you're okay, then it'll go back. So if anyone had said, right, you're going to take your clothes off, I wouldn't have done it. You know, something somewhere would have stopped me doing it. Now, does that mean that hypnotism isn't real and that we're just complicit and we're just doing it because we feel we ought to do it? I don't know. Why am I talking about hypnotism? Again, I have got literally no idea. How the hell did we end up here, guys? I don't know. 03, Caddick and Keith, I'll come to you in a minute, I promise. If you want to give us a call, now's an excellent time. 03 44 499 1000. What have we covered in the first half an hour? Oh, a load of old guff to most people. Conspiracies, hypnotism and seances. Want to have your say? Pick up the phone. 03 44 499 1000. Late nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Across the UK, online and on DAB.
Late night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
It's looking unlikely that we're going to get... Has he just messaged me there? No. It's looking unlikely our guest is going to turn up. But if he calls up at any point during the show, then he'll be more than welcome on. If he doesn't, we'll get him on at a later date. Remind me, dear listener, to tell you the guests we've got for next week. Because Kath is playing an absolute blinder at the moment. I'm throwing stuff at her. She's getting them. And she's coming up with suggestions. And I'm going, you'll never get them. Getting them. We have got next week some stunning guests coming up. It really is. We've gone up a gear in terms of guests. And it's cracking stuff. Keith!
Hello.
Hello, Keith. Hello, Keith.
Hello, Ian.
Keith. Hello.
Are you okay?
I'm good, Keith. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. First thing, hypnotism.
Yes.
I got hypnotised, but I didn't think I was being hypnotised, but then afterwards, I had been hypnotised.
How did this happen where you didn't think you were being hypnotised?
This was, I could remember exactly what they were saying the whole way through, but then when I went away, I felt relieved, if you see what I mean.
Relieved?
I didn't, as in, I was hypnotised. I spoke to you before anyways, I have problems like you do, depression, etc., etc. I'm suffering really badly at the moment, so much that I can't even be touched by anyone.
Yeah. Hey, well, well done for picking up the phone then, Keith.
When I got hypnotised, it was when this deep depression started because my second son was diagnosed with autism. So was my first son, but not as bad. The second son probably will never talk. Deep autism, if you see what I mean. Yeah. So I got a friend of the family said, I do hypnotism. Do you want to come and do you know what I mean? So I went and I don't know. I felt relieved and it was lovely afterwards. But I never thought I'd actually been hypnotised.
The thing is, people think that when you talk about hypnotism, that you close your eyes and 2 hours pass and you don't remember anything. After I was hypnotised the first, I remembered most of it. I was awake and I was conscious and I remembered most of it. You don't black out, do you?
No, exactly. But I was expecting to go to sleep, come back, and then everything's going to be okay, and job done.
Yeah. How did your friend do it? Because another myth is everyone thinks you look at a watch. You can do it with a watch, but you just look at the ceiling.
She was saying just pick a point at the ceiling, and then you're walking down the road and into the bush and all this sort of stuff. I can't remember exactly words for words, but and then you're going into a deep sleep. But I could remember everything, and I thought, I can remember all this, and is it going to work? And it did work for a while. I certainly felt a lot better for the next month after. Yeah,
I wouldn't suggest that hypnotism is a cure for depression, but I can understand how it might be able to just shift things subtly for a little while.
Yeah, I'm really suffering quite bad at the moment. My wife keeps saying, you need to go back to the doctor, you need to... And you try to block it out, don't you? You think, I'm going to be all right tomorrow, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to feel wonderful.
And how's that going?
Then, I woke up this morning feeling okay at 5 a.m.
Oh, that's not bad.
Went to the toilet, went back to bed. I didn't need to get up till 6 a.m. And I spent an hour working myself up to feeling like... Well, you do, if you know what I mean. Is there, but is that not a glimmer of hope that you woke up and you had, 2 minutes feeling all right? Yes, yeah.
When was the last time you had 2 minutes feeling all right?
Probably about 2 weeks ago now.
So that's... I like to try and it's hard, I know it's hard, man, but I like to cling on to those little chinks of light. Those little 2 minutes mean you'll feel all right. You will feel all right at some point. You felt it today.
Yeah, I did, yeah. And at certain points, and I didn't even want to phone, and I tried to phone a few times recently. I didn't want to phone because I don't want to bring your show down with this issue. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're having a good, happy show, and I think, don't bring it down with...
No. Oh, well...
The issue.
But then again, you know that that's your depression doing that, because you know that, I like the clunky gear changes. I love going from something sad to happy. I love it. I think it's because it's what human life is. It's what conversation is. But you know, everybody's welcome here, brother. You know, feeling happy or sad, everybody's welcome here. This is one of the few places where you know, on the radio, where you can come and share that stuff, and no one's going to go, oh, for Christ's sakes, Keith, pull your socks up, mate. You know, because I get it.
Well, that's what you feel. I spoke to my dad today. We worked together. On the way to work, I said, I'm not feeling good. He's like, you'll be all right. Look at all your prospects you got, and you think, that don't help.
Yeah. No, it doesn't help.
That doesn't help. Someone saying to you, look at all the work you got booked in and all this and that, that doesn't help.
No.
Look at your family, look at your life, look at your car. That doesn't help. Nothing helps. It's just you're there, aren't you? And you can't move.
I sometimes think that my life would be better if I got the sack from this job. Imagine that, right? This is the best job in the world. The best job. It pays well. I'm allowed to do what I want. I'm working with my mates. I get to do whatever I want. And sometimes I think, God, if I were only to get the sack for this job, then I could really focus on pulling myself together and trying to sort my life out. But that wouldn't happen. I'd just sit at home going, oh, I wish I still had that job. And I've got beautiful kids, and I've got a few quid in the bank, and I got my mortgage statement, annual mortgage statement, and we've paid off a bit more than I thought. All of this stuff is great. But it doesn't change anything inside, does it?
Nope. And it's and trying to explain to people is a hard part, because like today, my wife went to see her friends at the calf, and the gym, went to nursery, and the 2 hours she was away, I just laid in bed. But I didn't sleep. I just laid there. Well, I didn't even say to her that I'd laid in bed.
Yeah.
I just didn't say nothing, because I knew she was back about 3 o'clock, so I got up and had a shower.
Yeah.
And it's just how I feel.
It's tough. Here's the thing. You know, it is tough for the people that live with us as well, in a different way.
She is so tolerant with me.
Yeah. Because we don't know, you know, that they don't know how to act or what to do, and they worry, is it them? And of course they can get, you get angry with people that are ill. And you know, when I was kind of caring for my mum, I'd get angry with her because she couldn't walk, you know, and I get angry with her. And of course, you know, they struggle as well in their own way.
She said today, have I done something wrong? But she never does anything wrong. It's just, I can't. And then she comes to give me a kiss, and I said, oh, I feel tense, please. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I can't have someone in my little...
Why don't you go to the doctors, Keith?
I need to go back, because I don't know if you remember, the last time I spoke to you, it was like amitriptyline or something. My sister told me to go and get. Yeah. And I went and got them, and obviously they just made me feel like I was been out to a nightclub all night. So
why don't you? Well, here's my suggestion. I don't know if you can do it tomorrow. Maybe you can. Some surgeries you can, or on Monday. Phone up and get doctor's appointment, because you won't get one for that day. You may not get one for 3, 4, 5 days a week or something. So make the phone call, which is torture in itself.
I'm gonna get my wife. She's just filling water bottles up. So we've got water in bed this evening. Ian's telling me, darling, that you've got to book me a doctor's appointment on Monday. Okay? She said, yes, she will.
Beautiful. Good work. Nice one, Keith. And then it's in the diary, and then if the day comes and you can't face it, you phone up and you say, oh, I can't make it today, can I get another one? You know.
Yeah. My doctor's quite good, and I'm perfectly admitting what's going on, but then every day I joke myself, think, oh, tomorrow I'm going to be all right. Yeah. But I don't think I am, am I?
You're not.
Okay.
All right, mate. Have a good night, Keith. Right. Thanks for calling me.
Sorry, I didn't want to bring your show down.
Mate, I appreciate the apology, but, you know, there's no need for it. But thank you, man. Cheers. Keith, there you go, you see. Everybody's welcome. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Friday night, Talk Radio. We had a guest due for the first hour. But he's disappeared, so the next call's going to be Caddick, and we'll go to him in a minute. You're more than welcome to call in. I kind of hope you do call in, because I'll be honest, there's nothing in the papers I found 2 stories in the newspapers, thinking I'd only have to, we'd only have 2 hours because we'd have a guest for the first hour. 2 stories in the newspapers. One is about bees playing football, and one is about Jean-Luc Picard's Willy. So, listen, now I feel like I'm standing in that corner of the pub again, and that nobody's gone under. And I've got 2 people up on stage, and I know they're not hypnotised. They know they're not hypnotised, and I'm panicking and sweating and thinking, what the hell do I do now? Do I send them back and apologise to the audience? Or do I crack on and try and make something out of nothing? I feel like that. And we got the highest Periscope figures we've had in ages. You can watch the show on Periscope as well. 0344 499 1000 is the phone number. Your hypnotism stories, your seance-y stories, your Ouija board stories. And just to remind you, because I think the waters are getting a little bit muddied, you can call in about anything you want. You know that, don't you? We've established that already. I know I'm introducing topics the last couple of weeks, the first time since really being on Talk Radio. But that doesn't mean you have to phone in about the topics. You don't have to phone in about hypnotism. You don't have to phone in about seances. You don't have to. You can call in about anything. You know that, don't you? You got that? Good. 0344 499 1000. Late Nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Unmissable late night radio with the original king of unconventional conversation.
Make contact with Iain.
Late night Iain Lee on Talk Radio. We'll get you talking.
0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. Yes, Caddick.
Hip, hip, hip.
What?
Hip, hip, hip.
Hip, hip, hip.
What guests have we got coming up on the show?
Well, thank you for reminding me. Right. Next week, Bernie Clifton.
Ooh.
Eddie Large.
Ooh.
Rick Wakeman.
Wow.
Mark Thompson, who's a brilliant scientist.
Yeah.
I've forgotten the name of the lady we spoke to today. My mind's gone completely blank. We did one of the best interviews. We pre-recorded this interview. One of the best interviews I have ever done in my life with the lady called Jill Gibson. What?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Sorry.
Huh?
My mom's telling me heel, like I'm a little dog.
Heel? She's telling you to heel?
Like I'm a little dog.
Or maybe you're wounded.
No, I'm not.
You're a little dog. Why, have you done a dump on the stairs?
No.
No? Would you like to?
No, because we have to go upstairs. I mean, things will get very messy.
Well, you could step over it. I mean, how big is your dump? Let's not go there.
No. We don't want Ofcom complaining.
No. Imagine if Ofcom complained about the show to Ofcom. Then we'd be in trouble. Instead, it's just sad cases who get bitter about me. Anyway.
Oh, no, I've got some information about Ofcom, actually.
Oh, go on, Cads.
We actually started back in 1972 with the sound broadcast and that, and which led to the creation of the IBA.
Right, you see? But they became Ofcom in 2002.
Before, it was the Radio Authority.
Boom, Catherine. That was poor research on your part. Caddick has out-researched you, Boyle. Don't type on my screen, because whatever you type, I'm not going to read it. Whatever you type, I am not... Oh, my God! I don't think Caddick can physically do that to himself.
What's he done?
She just typed, I'm going to make an Ofcom about her. Ever been hypnotised? Oh.
I've tried to be hypnotised once.
You've got to be intelligent to be hypnotised.
Well, I've got the IQ of Stephen Hawking on a bad day.
Yeah, what?
I've got the IQ of Stephen Hawking on a bad day.
That would still be really high.
And I managed to talk Japanese. I've never done that before.
I bet you're like a genius, like the Rain Man.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do something genius, like...
The Grand National winner from 1988 with One Reason, who was written by Brendan Powell and Dominic Ellsworth.
Hang on a minute.
Trainer.
Are you saying... we're going to need some computer work here. Are you saying if I give you a year, you can tell me who the Grand National winner was?
That's right, from 1980 to the present day.
Right, all right, fact check this. Get your mic up. They're going to fact check this. Microphone on, please. Right, okay. Only from 1980. You can't do before that.
Not before 1980.
All right. The Grand National winner in 1992, please.
That was Party Politics, owned by Patricia Thompson, trained by Nick Gately, written by Carl Llewellyn, beating Romney King in second place, Lord's Bow in third, and Docklands Express in fourth.
Can we are researching that? Have you typed it in? Can you turn your microphone on?
Can you repeat that, Caddick?
No. You tell us what the answer is from your computer. That's how we verify things. Who was the
Grand National winning horse was Party Politics in 1992.
Who came second?
Romney King.
This is incredible. All right, okay. All right, Caddick.
Hello, Robert.
1999.
Bobby Joe, first winner for Ireland since the 70s, beating Blue Charm in second, Call It Today in third, and Addington Bar in fourth.
That is correct.
This is incredible. 1979.
Gone too far.
I know. Why is that the cut-off point, Cads?
Because the year I was born, 1980.
Right, well, so you started absorbing the information from the moment you were born?
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. Robert, Caddick's brother.
Hiya.
Is this true? He can do this?
Yeah, my little brother was reading newspapers from 8 months old.
No, he was not! He was looking at page 3 and thinking, lunch.
No, seriously, Ian, my little brother's so clever, it's unbelievable.
Whoever's got their radio on, turn it off, because it's...
Robert.
Yeah, because Caddick knows.
Sorry, I've turned it off now, sorry.
Thank you, Robert. I'm going to call him Caddick, and I'm going to call you Robert, even though you're both Caddicks.
Thank you.
He's a genius, is he?
He's quite clever, seriously. He's, I don't think many people know this, but my little brother is autistic. He was born 2 months early as well, premature.
Yeah.
And he's done so many things. We had a TV, this is how clever he was. He was 1 year old, and we had a TV where there was buttons on, and he learned how to lick his finger, press it on a certain button. My dad was pressing the remote control, didn't realise that my little brother had wrecked this certain thing on the TV, so my dad couldn't turn the TV over.
Hey, flippin' heck. What did you not want your dad to watch, Cads?
Well, what year was that?
1981, 1982, he used to lick his little finger and wreck the TV, so my dad couldn't turn the TV over, and in the end...
Dad was probably watching BBC One, and
over where he was licking his finger on.
I think it was the launch of Channel 4 I wanted to watch, wasn't it?
Pardon now?
I think it was the launch of Channel 4.
Probably it was, yes, something like that.
How come you not? Because I know you're into your horse racing, Cads. I know you go down and you like having a little flutter now and then. But how come you remember all this stuff? Do you just read it and know it, or do you have to kind of read it over and over again and learn it?
I read it and I absorb the information like a sponge.
Beautiful.
Seriously, Ian, he's so clever, it's unbelievable.
Robert, right?
Yes, Ian.
There's got to be a way that we can exploit your brother. And make £1 million each.
We could do,
There's
but,
got to be.
I don't know, yeah, we can, yeah, we'll do that.
Let's exploit him and make £1 million each.
Yeah, of course.
And give him nothing. We'll give him nothing, Robert.
I am in, you know.
Oh, blimey!
It could go on Eggheads or Mastermind and stuff like that.
But only for horse racing.
No, he did a competition the other week and he'd done The Simpsons and he got only 11 questions, he got 8 right.
Well...
And that was at the other place.
What other place?
Another radio station.
Right, bye-bye, Caddicks. Both of you are gone. I'm not having that. Seeing other radio stations behind our backs. And that's something. Spoken to Alan for years. Never knew that about him at all. Isn't it funny? Thank you for that, gentlemen. I enjoyed that. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. Evening, George.
Good evening, Ian. How's it going?
Well, I'm worried about our guest, Miles Johnston. I'm worried that he's disappeared.
Well, he could have been silenced by security bods.
Well, he might have been. You never know.
No. Well, you know what? It would be the perfect cover, wouldn't it? The fact that he's a man chatting about weird things, who bangs on about the fact that they're secret government bodies who silence people, and all of a sudden he disappears, and it would be the perfect cover for the governments to, shut
Can I
down.
just say, people are asking, how do they email the show? If you go to talkradio.co.uk, there is a little button that that will let you email the show. You click on that and you email, and it pops up on a screen in front of me, guys. And Lane is saying, I want to know if this topic is too depressing or not. No, nothing. No, listen, just phone up, Lane, you pudding. Pudding Lane. Phone up. Everything is A-OK, guys. You can call in about anything you want. Anyway, George, what have you called in for? Hey, are you ready for Sunday night?
Dude, I am ready.
Dude?
I had a quiet day at work, and I've sorted it all out, and this is what I was phoning up about.
Yes.
And, I've got my little, 6 to 7 minute talk ready.
Beautiful.
But also, it's a sort of visual thing, and I know you've got a screen for performance ring, but I thought, even better, I've set up a group on Facebook.
Oh.
Which is called Performance Ring Occult London.
Oh, hang on a second.
It's an open group. Anyone can join.
Performance Ring Occult London.
London.
There it is. You've got 27 members already.
Yeah, and all the photos I'll be using are on there. And so if anyone who either can't go or is going to be there, they can look at the photos on their phone. It'll be a better resolution, I'm sure.
Okay.
I've approved you.
Well, thank you. I'm in, and I've just tweeted the link as well, so that people. Well, no, I haven't. I'm going to tweet it now. Hang on a minute. For some reason, I didn't press the right thing. Here we go. Well, that's good. I'm looking forward to your performance on Sunday evening.
Yeah. So, I genuinely, I was doing it for about 5 or 6 hours today, getting it myself all sorted with it.
You might want to change something pretty sharpish on that Facebook page, George.
Oh, God, what's happened?
I can say this now because she's out in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Kath Boyle.
Oh, yeah.
It's Catherine.
Okay, sure.
She gets a bit. She gets fun. Yeah, I know, mate. That's a bad start. When we mark the acts at the end of the evening, as we do, I don't know if we told everyone, this one's going to be a competition, and we'll be scoring them. And if you do badly, we're all going to point at you and laugh. I'm joking. Okay. But you don't want to call her Kath Boyle on a Facebook page. She's just heard me. She's going to be unhappy.
That should be gone.
Let me have a little refreshment. Ah, perfect. Well done. Yes, George.
And so essentially those are the photos I'll be going through. There's a little description on each one. Beautiful. I'll be elaborating a little bit further as we go through. So there's more fun to be had.
Love it.
Yeah,
it's going to be good. This is the most. Hang on. The most underprepared, the least prepared I have ever been for a performance ring. I'm not even sure I've emailed everybody to let them know that they're performing. I think you got an email, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, a couple of weeks back. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, did you not get one this week?
Oh, I might have done. Well, I'm in the middle of, getting moved out of house and stuff. I'm about the most unprepared for...
It's going to be a good old night with all the acts there in the audience. It's going to be about close on to 100 people there. It's going to be hot, but it'll be a laugh. It'll be a laugh, and we'll try and get a game of iPod roulette this week because we don't know. We keep saying we're going to do iPod roulette. So if you're coming, dear listeners, bring an iPod or an MP3 player, and you can have a game of iPod roulette against me. And Kath and the audience will be the judges.
Catherine.
Well, I can say Kath, but you can't type Kath.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, don't apologise to me. Apologise to the lady.
Kath, I'll apologise to Kath.
Okay, someone's saying, why did you never take up the guy on his offer of punching in the face a few months back? I did, and we've recorded it, and we're just trying to sort out the legals of if we can play it on the air. Probably not. Can we sneak it in a podcast? I'd like to do that. My boss is not keen. If not, we'll release it independently as part of the rabbit hole or something. That has happened, and you will get to hear that at some point in the next few weeks. George, I shall look forward to seeing you on Sunday evening and shaking you firmly by the hand.
Do you want to know something? I've got 4 people waiting to join the group as we speak.
That's success. That's success. I hope they're listening to this radio show. Pete, Psychic Pete. Oh, and Russell, stay there. I'll come to you after the news because otherwise you won't get a fair crack of the whip. If you're coming to Performance Ring on Sunday, I think there are a couple of tickets left if you go to ticketsource.co.uk/Iain-Lee. Same place to buy tickets for the Rabbit Hole. Which is at the end of March in London and May the 6th in Manchester. Ticketsource.co.uk/Iain-Lee. This is going to be the last performance ring we do for a while, for probably until the summer. At the earliest, because we want to focus on the Rabbit Hole, and we've got an idea for screening a film that we want to do at the Regent Street Cinema. So I don't think we're going to be doing any more performance rings until June at the earliest. June at the earliest, maybe even a bit later. And my thinking is, the next time we do a performance ring, that we go all in. We put all our chips on black, and we hire a small theatre or something, and we do that. I think that might be nice, like a little, I don't know, 500-seater. I don't know, something like that. That's kind of my thinking at the moment. But it is all due. All these things can be changed at any moment. I've really hurt my neck today. I don't know what I did, and I'd forgotten about it until just then. And suddenly my neck just went. It's gone a bit funny. Never mind. Well, we managed to fill an hour of radio, despite the guest that we had booked not being available, until I hear from Miles that he is okay. I'm going to remain open-minded as to why he was unavailable. He is a man who likes to speak the truth. He is one of those people that likes to draw back the curtain on how he thinks the world is actually being run, and he's known about this booking for a few days now. We've spoken about it quite a few times on Facebook. And I don't want to say I'm worried that he's not answered the phone, but I have to be honest, I am slightly concerned that he's not answered the phone. I just think it's a bit weird and a little bit unusual. Psychic Pete, Russell, Cleo, stay there. Come to you after this, 0344 499 1000, Late Nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Late Night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
Well, I'm not the kind to kiss and tell, but I've been seen with fire up. I've never been with anything less than a 9. So fine, I've been on fire with Sally Field, gone fast with a girl named Bo, but somehow they just don't end up as mine. It's a death-defying life I lead. I take my chances. I die for living in the movies and TV. But the hardest thing I ever do is watch my leading ladies kiss some other guy while I'm bandaging my knee. I might fall from a tall building, I might roll a brand new car, 'cause I'm the unknown stuntman that made Redford such a star. I've never spent much time in school, but I taught ladies plenty. It's true, I hire my body out for pay. Hey, hey, I've gotten burned over Cheryl Teague's, blown up for Raquel Welch. But when I wind up in the hay, it's only hay. Hey, hey, I might jump an open drawbridge or Tarzan from a vine, 'cause I'm the unknown stuntman that made Eastwood look so fine.
So you can buy Ouija boards on Amazon. They are filed under kids' toys. They're in the kids' section. Absolutely true. Made by Hasbro. I couldn't use one on the radio. Why the hell not? Why the hell not? Why can't I? It's a toy. It's make-believe. It's fantasy. It's the same as getting 2 Action Men or Lego. It's imagination. It's not real. The Hasbro Ouija board only gets 2.5 stars on Amazon. Let's read some of the reviews, shall we? Angie, 1 star. Do not waste your money. The board is like sandpaper. Do not buy this piece of sticky sandpaper like cardboard. Hasbro really has let this down. The planchette, that's the pointer, is way too heavy. It doesn't glide on the board at all. I was mortified. I flipped it over, wrote my own letters on the back, as the back at least is slippery. Okay as a collection piece, but usable? I've just read the next line. You'll like this. Nope. Even my regular spirit visitors hate it. Sean Kershaw, 1 star. Completely unusable. Avoid. The planchette sticks and doesn't move across the board, so this is impossible to use. Very disappointed. Anonymous, 1 star. Looks great, but... Great new design. However, the board is way too small and very rough. The planchette is far too heavy, so will not glide across the board at all. Kind of sticks to the board, which defeats the object of the game. Good as a prop or for a Ouija board collector. What? Don't expect this to work. I'd suggest getting another board if you intend to use it to actually contact spirits. Miss Marks, 1 star. I have had contact with evil spirits and bad things happened. Please do not buy this game. I have had contacts with evil spirits and bad things happened. This should not even be for sale. Please don't mess around with spirits. Now, if I remember correctly, if you click on the person's name, you can see what other things they've bought and left reviews for. Nope, that's... Nope, but she has got some slippers on a wish list. Okay. I wonder if Angie's bought any other bits and pieces. Scooter grips and a bicycle bell. Digital recorder. Let me just read a couple more. I love these. 2 stars. Walker. Looks great, but... Oh, no, we just read that one. Hang on. So let me just go and have a look at a couple more of... I'm just looking at some more reviews, Psychic Pete.
Okay.
Let's go to the 1-star reviews. Chris, I think, is being slightly tongue-in-cheek. Spirits don't talk to me. Offered my soul and everything. It's, my 10-year-old son saw it advertised and asked me if he could have it. I didn't believe that it was a real game until I Googled. Completely irresponsible, Hasbro. Mr. V. Trekiokas. Do not buy it. It is more than a game and can be lethal to your body and your soul. Ah, souls. Psychic Pete.
Good evening.
Good evening, Pete.
How are you tonight?
You should know that if you're psychic.
Well, I know you're having a really good day.
Okay. You ever used a Ouija board, Pete?
I use it all the time because I'm a paranormal investigator as well.
Oh, look at you, fancy pants.
I know.
But I thought, okay, so what does the Ouija board do, in your opinion?
It's not the best tool when it comes to the events and stuff like that. It's seances and noises that are always better.
Yeah. How do you do a seance? Obviously, here's the thing, we're not allowed to do it on the radio, squares, but how do you do it?
Right, well, I've got a good story from a seance.
Go on, fella. Let's have it.
We were up on Pendle Hill.
Yeah.
And we were talking to the witches. And I'd had an operation on my shoulder. And I shouldn't have been out. I shouldn't have been driving, and my arm should have been in a sling.
Yeah.
And I asked for spirits to raise arms. And my arm started lifting all the way up behind my head. And at this point, I was panicking.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, don't drop it.
No.
And the witches lowered it down nicely.
Yeah.
And then told me physio on Monday what had happened.
Yeah.
She showed me the notes of the operation.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't have been able to get anywhere near there till 12 weeks.
Yeah.
And it was physically and humanly impossible.
Isn't this funny? Because this ties in with something I was talking about in the last hour. One way, when you are hypnotising people, one way to see who's going under and who isn't going under is you say, in a minute, when I tap the back of... You've got your palms in your lap. When I tap the back of your hand, whichever hand I tap is going to start to feel lighter than air, and you're going to imagine a balloon is tied to it. And you won't resist it and you won't fight it, but you're going to feel your hand just start to float up, and the higher it gets, the sleepier you get, and the sleepier you get, the higher it gets. And you'll see people's arms start to float up like that. So I would argue, Pete, with my realist hat on, that was just the power of suggestion. The power of suggestion raised your arm.
I can accept that, and I like to debunk it, but it shouldn't have happened. I'd had an operation.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't have got there till 12 weeks.
Well,
and this was 4.
Yeah, well, I got so you thought. Well, sometimes doctors don't get it quite right. They always give a worst or best case scenario. When they're talking about healing, they give a worst case scenario. When they talk about dying, they tend to give a best case scenario. So maybe your arm was okay. Like you said, you said you'd driven there. You managed to drive there.
Yeah, but what happened was when I went to see the physio.
Yeah.
She lifted my arm, and she couldn't get it no further than straight ahead. I was near enough crying in pain.
Okay. Maybe the cold air, maybe you were relaxed, maybe.
That's it, it's all maybes, isn't it? That's the whole thing. There's no evidence either way, and that's what I like. I like to be debunked.
Yeah. Here we go. Listen, here's a review that someone's just tweeted me. I know 2 lads who played with one of these. The shed they were playing in caught fire by itself. I also knew a married couple who played with one of these. It brought poltergeists into her house, which picked up ornaments and smashed them on her walls. She was that scared they had to move house 10 miles away. They became Christians after that.
Well, I've never known that happening with the Ouija board.
No, because you can't talk to dead people with a Ouija board, Pete.
I have had it again where it has worked. I've had German airmen come through from the Second World War. German airmen.
German airmen? German airmen?
Yeah.
Did they bomb your mum's chip shop? Don't.
Oh.
Don't. But did they though? It's someone pushing them, and again, it might be someone doing it subconsciously, but it's someone pushing them.
Again, it's a trust thing. If it worked, because it was spelling out in German. I can't speak a word of German.
Yeah.
But what came through was the German's name.
Yes, Fritz.
The number on his plane, where he was going to, and where he'd been from.
And
it was all correct.
Who were you doing it with?
This was a long time ago. This would have been other guests on the paranormal event.
Okay. I want to come on
it can be done.
I want to come on a paranormal event with you.
I'd love you to.
I'm doing it. Me and Kath come.
We can sort it out.
What kind of stuff? What? So you go on? You go where witches have been hanged. What other stuff do you do?
Well, mainly what we're doing at the moment is we're at Gloucester Prison.
Oh, really? I was in Gloucester the other day.
We're at Gloucester Prison every month.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
What day of the week are you doing it?
It's normally a Saturday night.
Mate, I'm going to pass you back to Catherine. You're going to swap email addresses.
Yep.
Seriously, we want to come down.
We'd love you to.
Pete, nice one, mate. Thanks for the call. I appreciate that. We'll have some of that. Why not? We'll go down and record. Gloucester Prison. Beautiful. Sounds like a fun night out. Can I take a flask? Am I allowed to take a packed lunch and a flask? That's the key question there. These reviews are absolutely fantastic for the Ouija boards. Horrible. It seems the letter's been placed on the wrong side of the board. There's so much friction the planchette cannot move. Pretty crabby box. Came battered and was taped together. Don't go anywhere near this or anything like it. I am an Anglican clergyman, and I've had to be called in on 3 occasions for deliverance ministry. In a flat, in a pub, and in a house. The spirit world is real, and we play with it at our peril. People have ended up in mental hospitals or worse playing with such things. I love it. I could read those all night. 0344 499 1000. Russell, Cleo, stay there. Come to you after this.
Late night Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
Okay, 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Record audience figures on Periscope this evening, periscope.tv/Iain Lee. You can see we have, I'm displaying books of people that are coming on. Bobby Hall, Steve Guttenberg, and Michelle Leon from the Babes in Toyland. Yeah, I thought the book was going to fall over there. Honestly, next week, absolute cracking guests. Now, we've got Mark Thompson coming on, who I think his Twitter name is People's Astro. And he's a scientist, and he does brilliant science shows for kids. But I took my boys to see him in half-term, and honestly, I could have gone without the kids. I could have quite happily sat there for an hour without... In fact, the kids got in the way. Because I was all over the place. I couldn't believe it. Absolutely brilliant. He's coming on the show on Monday. And it'll be really good if you've got kids or elderly people with science questions. They can be, and you know the show. They can be stupid or they can be, clever. Can you record them? Just 30 seconds, no more than 30 seconds. And if you email it to me, Iain@iainlee.com. It's working now. The email was down for a couple of days this week. It's working now. Iain@iainlee.com. And we'll play the best ones to him. I can't play mine because they're on the phone, but one of the questions my boys ask is, Mark, can you make cheese disappear? So that's kind of the level we're at. You're starting at a very low level in terms of quality science questions, okay? So you can work up from that. Next week we got Rick Wakeman, we've got Eddie Large, we've got Bernie Clifton, we've got loads of people, absolutely loads. We're really hitting a real nice little rich pocket of top quality guests at the moment. Russell.
Hi Ian, how are you doing?
All right, thank you, Russell. What you got for us?
Well, I want to talk about a dark subject.
Uh-oh.
Bring me down on a Good Friday.
It's not Good Friday.
Night. And on a Good Friday
just
night.
a Good Friday with a small G?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. When is Easter this year? Do we know? Because they keep... Here's the thing. There was a talk in the church last year... We're talking, because Easter's a different time of year it's a different day. Yeah. They were talking last year, and I love this, of giving Easter a specific day. Like Christmas Day is December the 25th, so we know it's December the 25th. I don't know if Easter's in March, or if it's in... I've got no idea. March, April, I don't know what month it is. And the church were talking about settling on a day. So that day would be Easter. I wish they'd do that. I wish they'd do that. It would make life so much easier.
And I wish they'd get rid of the chocolate Easter eggs.
What the hell are you talking about, Russell?
It's killing people.
How? What? Chocolate Easter eggs are killing people?
Diabetes.
Oh, well, that's their problem. How is it? Where's their problem? If they know that they shouldn't be eating chocolate Easter eggs, how many deaths?
You have chocolate bars. Why?
Yeah.
Not just with chocolate bars.
No. Why not chocolate Easter eggs with chocolate bars in a plastic bag inside them? That's what I'm talking about. And boy, oh boy, how disappointed was I when a kid, when you get a Smarties Easter egg, right? And you crack it open and there's like a tiny piddling bag of Smarties. No. Fill that egg up with Smarties. So you crack it open and Smarties start pouring out. You cut a little hole in the bottom so they start dripping out. You hold it above your head and you shake it. Or a cream egg. Russell, you get a Cadbury's cream egg Easter egg. It's the size of an Easter egg, but it's a cream egg inside. You cut the top off with a knife and you scoop it out with a ladle. You are a pervert, Russell. This is good stuff.
You're making me sick.
Good. Anyway, what you got for us, man?
I was watching BBC. Is this daytime? It's an old guy and a middle-aged woman.
An old guy and a middle-aged woman on BBC Daytime. I haven't watched TV. It's not the property programme, is it?
It's a midday kind of morning show.
Yes, midday morning, yes.
They were talking about suicide in... Yeah, I touched it.
Here we go.
No, but this is worse.
Yes.
They were talking about a 7-year-old child coming home telling his mom he wants to kill himself.
Yeah.
That's not right.
Well, no, it's not right. But also, well, no, but hang on. Also, when you're 7, you don't always understand you don't always have the full vocabulary to express what you mean. So a 7-year-old saying he wants to kill himself, well, that's terrible. He may not have meant it in that way.
Shouldn't be in his head.
Well, no, but the 7-year-olds know the words, I want to kill myself. They know those words, and they put them in that order.
Should not be in his his head.
Well, but 7-year-olds know the word kill, I'm afraid, Russell. I got a 7-year-old, he knows the word kill.
And a 14-year-old girl killed herself.
Yeah.
Because of online bullying.
I've just retweeted Janie Godley, who comes on from time to time. I've just retweeted a video by her daughter, Ashley, about teenage suicide. And I've retweeted it because I haven't seen it. I'm going to watch it after the show, but I trust Janie. If she sends me something, then it's probably worth having a gander at. So I've just retweeted that. But yeah, no, teenage suicide is a huge problem.
It really upsets me.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm a touchy person.
No.
I get touched easily.
Sorry?
I get touched.
Yes.
Like
You're emotionally, you mean? Emotionally, you don't mean physically.
Yeah.
Yes.
No. Like, that really, really upsets me. And it's not even an Irish person.
Yeah.
I'm Irish proud. But that's
well, we can mourn. We can be upset when people pass of any nationality, can't we?
And it's really, really upsetting me because they don't realise they have a bright future ahead of them.
Well, but they don't see it like that, Russ.
In order to get to where God leads them. They have to overcome obstacles like that, like bullies, like all that stuff. Why can't the world be good?
Well, it isn't, unfortunately. It would be nice if it was, Russell, but it ain't. It sucks for a lot of people, and a lot of bad things happen in the world. But the fact that you're upset by it and you're touched by it shows that your heart is in the right place and you are a good man.
I blame society. I blame.
What does that mean,
parents.
though? No. You can't. Hang on a minute. You can't blame the parents of a kid who's killed themselves.
I do blame the parents.
Well, you can't, though, Russell.
Because the kid sees the parents arguing.
No. I'm going to Russell. I'm going to stop you there because you haven't got a clue what you're. With respect, you haven't got a clue what you're talking about. You've got no idea what happened with that 14-year-old kid. You've got no idea. I don't know the story, so I haven't got any idea. But you're making up a whole backstory about.
I don't blame the parents of the child that committed suicide.
Well, then whose parents are you blaming?
The parents of the bullies. The bullies see their parents.
But again, you're making up you're making up a backstory.
They think it's okay to bully people.
No, Russell, and I know your heart's in the right place, but you're making up a backstory where you don't know. You don't know why those people do the things that they do. Maybe they're beaten up by their parents. Maybe they're abused by their parents.
Exactly.
But maybe they're not. Maybe they live in a perfectly normal, loving house with parents, and they just want to go and bully people. You don't know.
I've had a hard life. I don't go out bullying people because I know what it's like.
But you don't know what I know you do, but you don't know why. You don't know why the bullies are doing it. So listen. I know your heart's in the right place, Russell, but try not to get upset about these things.
I've a lot of empathy for everyone. The people in Africa, I cry because they die every day. People commit suicide. I cry because of that.
Yeah, but you kind of have to. You have to learn to take a step back from it and try not to take it all so personally. Because if you are aware of all the pain that exists in the world in one go, then your head will explode.
Well, but I came so close to death. I know. I nearly know what it feels like.
Okay. All right, Russell. Thanks for calling, man.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Don't worry. Thank you very much indeed. 0344 499 1000. Yes, Cleo.
Well,
it's all good. Hey, clunky gear changes. It's all good. You get in there, fella.
Well, I think I'll try and make this as positive as I can.
Yes.
It involves mortality and
Ouija boards.
And hypnosis as well. Bit of that in there.
Yeah.
Well, how do I start? I'll start like this.
Go.
In 2014, I died for 3 minutes. I had,
Did you really?
I had pneumonia.
What's that?
Pneumonia.
Right, but you said pen before it.
It's got a p at the beginning for some reason.
It's got a what?
It's
you're saying pneumonia. I see what you're doing.
Pneumonia.
I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing.
So, I thought I was having a heart attack. I was in bed.
Yes.
Because I couldn't breathe, my chest was tight and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Rang the ambulance. Paramedic came out, went.
When you can I ask, right? When you when you rang the ambulance for yourself,
yeah.
How long did you hold off before you thought, actually, no, this is really serious?
Straight away. I've never felt anything like this.
Okay. Okay.
They were there quite sharpish.
Yeah.
I rang me mum because I knew if she found out via hospital, she'd probably die of a heart attack herself.
Yeah.
So I said what was going on.
Yes.
They got there, checked me heart with their little machine, said it's tickety-boo, nothing wrong with my heart, and I was like freaking out even more.
Yes.
Because of that, there's no answer.
Yeah.
Ambulance, they said they've got a bigger machine, it's better, it's linked to the hospital, they can read the data, blah, blah, blah. They found nothing wrong with my heart, which again got us panicking even more.
Mm-hmm.
And I got into A&E, and all I remember was going in, and a voice, a doctor, very nice woman,
yeah,
who I correspond with now. She went, we don't know what's wrong with you, Lane, but we're going to try and work it out. Yeah. And that was it. I can't remember anything else.
Beautiful.
But apparently,
yeah,
I spent 24 hours on a ward, totally cogent, talking to people, but I was on oxygen, and overnight that night, my oxygen levels went really down.
Yeah.
Carbon dioxide went really up, and they got ICU to come and intubate us.
Oh, I see you.
And that's when I died.
Yeah.
For 3 minutes. They reckoned I could have had like brain damage as a result, and luckily I haven't. He says. But I was in an induced coma for 3 weeks, and the whole when you see it on TV and they say, you've got to keep speaking to them because they can hear you and all that stuff, and you can't because you can't really. I can remember moods.
Yeah.
And I could always tell when my family were there because they were really down. Because at one stage they were told to come in and say bye-bye. And I remember feeling no. And I remember one of my friends, I was willing her to come in. Really, and just like, I'm not going anywhere without saying to her whatever, because I couldn't speak. I was just in a coma.
Yeah.
But she came, and apparently I tried to wake up. And she ran out saying, he's going to be fine. And the doctors were like, no, he's not. Family were like, actually quite angry with her. But like, I can remember all this.
Yeah.
And when I came to properly, about 2 weeks later, I felt great. They were crying and I was tickety-boo.
Flipping heck.
I was wondering what all the fuss was about.
Yeah.
I do remember the first time I opened my eyes was pitch black at night in a little ICU room. All these lights flashing and blurred vision and little bodies swishing past the windows, and I was utterly convinced I was on a UFO. I was like, wow, it was class. I was like, this is a UFO. I'm in space, because I was off me box on whatever meds I used. And yeah, so it sounds morbid, but I was utterly fascinated with what happened to us.
Yeah.
So I was keep asking the doctors, and they wouldn't really go into depth because I don't think they can at that stage because it'll freak you out. I ended up on a ward, and I witnessed death. You'd make friends with someone, and within a day or so they might be dead.
Yeah.
It was quite weird. You could even, after 6 weeks, I was in there for 7 in total, after 6 weeks, you could sort of sense when people had died.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds a bit weird, but you sort of knew that. And everybody, you'd look at each other and think, "Oh, he's gone." You had no real indication. And then the nurses would come in and say, "Oh, we've lost John. No, we've lost." There was a lad called Terry, a sound lad, and quite weird.
Yeah.
But what's more weird is 6 months later, you go back to ICU, you go back and see if you've got any questions, and they'll offer you to go around and see where you were and see the equipment, because it's supposed to help with the, what's the word? Sort of the recuperation sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go around. I was a bit too freaked out, but I did have the meeting with me consultant, who I speak to on Twitter. He's class. He told us exactly what happened, verbatim. And he asked us a couple of odd questions. And one was just, he said, what do you remember about being in ICU? And I was going, God, machines, beeping. He went, no, but what do you remember about how you were treated?
How you were
And I was like, yeah. And I was thinking, well, I don't know, what do you mean? I was like, you're amazing, you saved my life. They were like, no, but did you feel trapped? And I was going, yes. And he was like, did you feel you were on a UFO? And I was going, yes. And he went, did you feel in any way we were keeping you here against your will? And I was like, yes. Like, what's all this about? He sort of knew what I was thinking all along.
Yeah.
And apparently, because I had pneumonia, which it basically destroyed half my lung.
Yeah.
At the time, it's recovering. But what they do when your visitors have been and gone during visiting hours, they go to town on you. They work on you. So they have to take you off all. They basically let you die.
Yeah.
Because they've got to make your lungs work again by themselves and not have the machine work on them.
Yeah.
So that's and he was saying they used hypnosis for that.
Hang on a minute. If you were in a coma, how could they hypnotise you?
Because they bring you out. Because if you're in a coma, you don't automatically tell you you've got to breathe.
Right.
And so while you're under the scene, they shout at you. They shout your name, because I've got PTSD as a result.
Yeah.
And I have nightmares, and I have them literally shouting my name. But he was saying, he was trying to be funny, and he went, have you heard of Guantanamo Bay? I went, well, yes. He went, and it's a bit like that, but what are you doing to help you? Hang on a minute,
where did the UFO... Hang on a minute, I'm confused. Where does the UFO thing come into it then? Were they hypnotising you to think that you were on a UFO?
Well, there he was saying, as long as you don't really remember what we did.
No.
So he said,
what? They brought you out of a coma to hypnotise you?
No. They do it while you're under, and they bring you out slightly to take you off some of the sedation, and say...
Yeah.
We're going to take the machines off. You're going to have to really try and breathe hard and da-da-da-da-da. Like, before he told us this, I couldn't remember any of this.
Well.
And he said, because I've still got it now, he said, for a long time, you'll have flashbacks, you'll have possibly hallucinations, and you'll have nightmares.
It sounds like Jacob's Ladder or something. Are you sure they weren't giving you LSD or something, conducting some kind of mind experiments on you?
I'll tell you something, like, when I was in recovery, my mum and me stepdad came in to visit us.
Yes.
And my head was buzzing, and I was like, they were in front of us, and all I could hear was,
yeah.
I was like, I can't actually understand what they're saying.
No.
But I heard outside someone going, okay, 1, 2, 3, jump. Come on, 1, 2, 3, jump. I was like, what the hell is that?
I'm getting confused now. Am I on LSD? What is going on?
I looked out the window, and literally about 300 or 400 metres away was a bloke. No, it was a bloke jumping his kid off the curb onto the traffic island.
Yeah.
And then jumping these cliffs.
So you're saying you couldn't hear what was in front of you, but you had super hearing?
Yeah. And apparently it's perfectly normal for when you're in recovery.
When you die and come back, you have superpowers for a short amount of time. Is that what you're telling me, Cleo?
Drug-induced superpowers.
Baby, I'm there. Thank you for that, man. I love that. I mean, you had to die for it to become a story, but thank you. Drug-induced They must have. Right. And by they I mean governments. Because they're doing experiments on with drugs on prisoners and murderers all the time, right? And soldiers and stuff. They must have drugs that give you, like, super hearing or super sight. They must do. They must. It would be easy, wouldn't it? To increase the power of your hearing significantly via a chemical. You know, ecstasy was invented by someone who was trying to invent a cure for the cold, and he created ecstasy. What was LSD? LSD was someone trying to create a cure for something, I'm sure. You imagine taking that and going, well, I think I've got a cure for the cold. Who wants to go first? Yeah, I'll try it, sure. 10 minutes later, I love you, man. I love you guys. Yeah, I want to dance. Let's just hug. Let's just hug. Oh, I'm a bit sick now. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. Really looking for someone who's used a Ouija board, because you can buy them on Amazon for 35 quid. They're made by Hasbro. But we're not allowed to do one on the radio. We've emailed Ofcom, and hopefully, fingers crossed, someone who will get that, who gets the show, will come on next week and tell us why. Or maybe they'll tell us that we're allowed to do it. Maybe they'll say, yeah, no, actually, you've got it wrong. We changed the rule in 2011, and you're allowed to have seances live on the air. You're allowed to use the Ouija board. Ouija, of course. Yes, French, German, that's where the name comes from. I've used one. I used it with some mates over in Burnham Beaches when I was about 16 years old, and we got someone from the war. And then we asked Richard Kukowski, who was one of the Polish gentlemen we were with, to take his fingers off, and it stopped moving. So what that tells me is Richard Kukowski was possessed by someone from the war. 0344 499 1000. Late Nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Late Night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. Catherine joins me in the studio.
Word.
You ever used a Ouija board?
No. Well.
Oh, go on.
I was going to say no, but when I was in France once, I hung out with some very naughty French kids.
It's either yes
or
no.
Well, they drew one on a piece of paper.
That counts. I drew one on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Counts. I mean, the board itself isn't sacred or blessed or anything. You know, it's just invented. I think the Ouija board was invented about 1912. I'm going to say, and I don't know where I've plucked that information from. Maybe from the Unexplained that I had for 3 weeks before I got rid of them again, realising, well, this is just taking up a lot of room. I'm never going to read it, so I gave them away. And who did you contact? Someone from the war?
La guerre. Quelqu'un de la guerre.
Well, in English, mate.
Well, someone from the...
We're on English radio.
Probably
British,
the war. I don't know.
radio.
We were a little bit drunk.
Yeah. That's the best way to do it. But yeah, we got one from... Because there was... just off the Bath Road, near where some of my friends lived, there was like a magical shop above... a garage, and we used to go up there, but it was scary because it was not like in a row of shops. It was sort of in the middle of nowhere on this busy road, and you had to go around the back of this building and upstairs and knock on the door.
Oh gosh!
And that's where I first got interested in hypnotism, because I saw they had a book on hypnotism. I was about 15. We used to go there, but I didn't buy it. But we bought. Wayne bought a Ouija board from there, I think. And what did we buy? We bought some bits and pieces. We were all into that, like, black magic and stuff. We were into black magic at school. And Mr. Dunn, our deputy head, who was a very devout Christian and wore suits from the 1970s, he was furious. And then he saw us, Andrew, I'll come to you in a minute. And then he saw us playing with the hacky sack. Remember the hacky sack?
Yeah, like beanbags.
Little beanbag, and you had to kick it, and
yeah.
you had to touch it. You had to keep it up in the air.
Yeah.
And he saw us playing with that, and we all got in terrible trouble. He thought it was a black magic thing.
What?
He thought the hacky sack was a black magic thing.
Gosh.
We did all get called in to see him one by one because for some reason in the fifth year, we had to write reports on what we liked doing. Oh, I think we were writing CVs or something. We had to write down our interests. And 3 or 4 of us wrote down...
The occult.
Yeah, black magic.
That's going to get you a job.
Yeah. And he called us in one by one to explain exactly what we meant and to warn us. This is a teacher. To warn us off because it could drive us insane or would damage us.
Why do some teachers forget what it is to be a young person so quickly?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's go to Andrew Weston Webb.
Hi, Ian.
Hey, Andrew.
I didn't use an Ouija board, but I did contact a dead person.
Tell me more.
It was about 18 years ago. He was a 3 times published novelist.
Yes.
And he had personal problems, and he went and jumped off Clifton Suspension Bridge in Bristol.
Oh, blimey, yes, I know the bridge, yeah.
Yes, I'm afraid it's a popular suicide spot.
Yeah.
And I was very distressed by this because he meant a lot to me in my life. And I...
Did you know him personally, or were you just a fan of his work?
No, he was a teacher,
Right.
but not a teacher at a school. He was a teacher of creative talents, let's put it that way. And he'd improved my life no end, and I was coincidentally learning how to remote view.
Now, the remote viewing is when you kind of correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew, it's when you enter a meditative state and you are able to go anywhere in the world, anywhere in the cosmos?
Well, it's called the theta state.
Yes, theta.
Theta,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure about the travelling in the cosmos,
Right.
but I sort of focused my attention, and you can get some music that helps you to accomplish this state.
Wow.
And I had a conversation with him over 14 nights, and he revealed information to me that, because I wrote it all down, and I shared it with his surviving partner, and she said, well, how did you know all that?
Oh.
You know, these were sort of...
Oh, wow.
These were sort of confidential private details that he was telling me that I had no way of knowing.
Yeah.
She raised a bit of an objection. She didn't really want it to sort of go any further, really, but I sort of feel there is something to it. I can't explain it, but I did definitely have this conversation, and it lasted for a fortnight.
And this was after he passed away.
This was after he passed away.
So where were you meeting him then in this this state? Where was he?
Well, there wasn't any sort of physical state. It was more sort of mental. It was just as though we were chatting, like you and I.
Yeah. Isn't that incredible? Have you done these? Have you done this remote viewing since? I mean, could you, for example, come into the studio remotely?
I don't know whether I've still got the music, but I.
The music? Hang on, Andrew. It can't be just the music that does it. What music is it?
It's got a particular rhythm to it. It sort of helps with the brainwaves, you see.
Yeah.
But prior to that, I had spent an hour alone in the granite sarcophagus of the giant pyramid in Egypt.
Yeah.
In the dark. Yeah. I was totally alone in the pyramid.
Yeah.
And I believe that I astro-travelled.
In the pyramids?
In the pyramids, yes.
So,
I believe
you went to the pyramids physically?
Yes.
And while you were in there, you astro-travelled to...
Well, I believe it was the Pleiades.
The what?
A group of planets called the Pleiades, which match in exactly the pattern of the pyramids on planet Earth.
I'm speechless, Andrew.
Well, I paid a man £25 to fuse the lights when I went into the pyramid so no one else would come in. So I climbed up the staircase up to the king's chamber, and I lay down in the granite sarcophagus, and within a few minutes I felt an incredible thrust in my back, almost as though I had travelled on Concorde, and it was like as though I was on Concorde again.
Yeah. And you went to the Pleiades?
Well, I don't know. I was flying through space, and I was in a panic because I didn't think I was going to come back.
Can I ask you questions?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever taken LSD?
No, I don't think I ever have.
Okay. Have you ever taken any hallucinogenic drug?
Well, I've taken weed.
Okay, that's fine. And had you?
But I wasn't under the influence at the time.
No. I'd love to get my hands on this music. What's it called?
Well, I can find out, and I'll let you know.
Yeah, please do, because I'd be really interested to. Maybe we could play some of it on the radio and see if.
I just think, Ian, you have to be a little bit careful with this. I tried this as an experiment, and it sort of freaked me out a bit. But I just think that there is more to this than meets the eye or the ear, as they say, and I just don't know that why it's being sold as a game. I have no idea, but I think there are things going on in this world which we don't know about, and I think there are means available to us to access these things.
Andrew, I really appreciate your call. Thank you for your time, mate.
Okay, Ian.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, the thing is, he sounded like an absolutely thoroughly decent, grounded gentleman, not like the normal gibbering idiots we get on this show. I hope he does find that music, and I understand the brain waves can be manipulated and they can be attuned to different ambiances. I'd like to hear that music, and I would listen to it at home first, and if I felt it was safe...
If you came back.
I would play it on the radio. Here's the thing, I've just remembered, talking about that shop we used to go to, I've just remembered a book I bought from it. And I remember in my first year, I was quite lonely in my first year at university. I was quite lonely. The first year I didn't like it at all. I hated it, and the course wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and I didn't really make many friends, and I was quite lonely. So I would do weird things. Like this book I bought on astral projection, right? And I tried it, and it was quite a dull book actually, but it taught you how to astrally project yourself. And one of the tricks is you listen to relaxing music and meditate, and then it's proven that meditation does affect the brainwaves, the alpha waves of the brain, and it can also affect the rhythms of your heart and things like that. It's one of the tricks that they taught you was don't drink all day so you're really thirsty, right? And then before you go to bed, you pour yourself a nice cool glass of water, but you leave it in another room, right? And then when you're in bed, right, and you're meditating, you astrally project yourself to leave your body and walk to the room with the water in and drink the cool water.
Right. How did that work out for you?
It didn't. But saying that, I did also buy... you could buy these tapes. You could buy these tapes.
Are you their only customer?
You could buy these tapes that would increase your psychic powers.
Right.
Right. It would teach you how to become psychic. And I do remember, this is the first summer holiday between the first year and the second year. I had this tape, and I played this tape constantly, and it would hypnotise you. And then it would encourage you to think of a person and reach out to that person. And connect with them psychically. Right?
Psychic stalking.
I'm going to carry on. And I did this for about 2 or 3 weeks. And the person that I was connecting with wrote me a letter.
Oh.
Now...
Was it your mum?
No, it wasn't my mum, because it was at my mum's. It was the summer holidays, you twit. Now...
Was it your gran?
No, it wasn't. It was a girl I fancied, if you must know, but she didn't know I fancied her.
What'd she write you a letter for? Cease and desist.
No... You're being really dickish tonight. We're having people phoning up, and I'm going to send you back out there with the Christian in a minute, where you two can have a little moan yourself about all this stuff. Our guest might have been murdered by the government, and you're there being a Absolute tit. You're being a tit, Catherine. We may have had a guest murdered. We are expanding our consciousness. We're trying to do something a little bit different, just trying to learn stuff, and you're being a tit.
Okay, maybe it's a defence mechanism because I know you're getting close to the truth.
Or maybe it's because you're a tit. maybe it's that. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just because you are a tit.
Say what you mean.
Yeah, well, I will. What do you think? What do you think about that? What do you think about that hypothesis?
I'll tell you what I think.
Is that hypothesis? Can you run up the data and check the stats on that?
I'll tell you what I think through the medium of thought waves.
See, you saw that on Periscope. That's actual abuse. I'm going to turn to the camera. We've got another hour of this. As our guest might have been silenced by the government or dark forces. We just don't know. 0344 499 1000. Quite a spooky show this evening. Quite a spooky show because our guest has disappeared. And we are talking about Ouija boards. We are talking about seances. We are talking about forces that we cannot understand, that some of us choose not to understand because of our tiny little mind, our pathetic northern minds. Or some of us, the more metropolitan, are actually like, I don't understand this, but I'd like to hear your stories and your experiences, and I'd like to learn from you. Some of us don't want to learn because we're tits, but some of us would like to learn from you. And that's what the next hour is going to be. It's going to be a learning experience. 0344 499 1000. And you can, and I'm actually going to say this, Catherine is in the studio with me. If you'd rather she left because you're worried that she will laugh, I will happily.
I'll evacuate.
That is not even a problem for me to do that. That would literally be my pleasure to ask her that would be my pleasure to instruct her to leave the room. Okay, so if you're feeling, I don't, I want to talk to Iain, but the woman is as Iain says correctly, a tit. That's fine. That problem can be erased completely.
What, are you going to erase me now?
0344 chance to be a fine thing. 0344 499 1000. It's Late Nights with Iain Lee.
Late Night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
In this guided meditation, you will have an opportunity to relax your body very deeply, to calm and center your mind, and to go into an expanded state of awareness where you can ask for and receive messages that are important to you. First, find a quiet place to comfortably sit or lie down where you will not be disturbed. Shut off your phone. Close the door, dim the lights, do whatever you need to do to ensure that you will not be disturbed during this exercise. This is your time, a time for total relaxation and inner stillness. I will guide you through a body relaxation, Robert Monroe's affirmation, and then you will experience a free-flowing period of calming hemisync signals where you can perceive far beyond the limits of the 5 physical senses, where you can ask questions to which you desire an answer.
Come on, sit down, we just started.
Begin now by closing your eyes and taking in a slow, deep breath. Hold it for a moment.
These meditations are on YouTube. This is almost identical to the one that I did when I was a student. Except it was a bloke doing it. Similar accent. Ed, when you get a moment, if you could turn Catherine's microphone on, but there's no rush.
Cheeky
get. Speaking of cheeky gets, here's someone we'll have to. This may be his last phone call, but if we want to speak to him after a few weeks' time, we'll have to use a Ouija board. It's Dennis.
Good evening.
Dennis, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Are you there, Dennis? Is
yes,
Dennis there?
Yes, did one of these sessions that you did.
Dennis, we can't. Dennis, we are peaceful. Do you have any messages for us?
Yes. Let me speak.
Please speak, Dennis.
Right. Some time ago, there used to be a guru over here.
Yeah.
I've joined that group, and you had to go to certain people's houses with a piece of fruit or a flower, and they had to teach you to relax. They have a mantra, which was a word of no use at all.
Hang on, was it you didn't do transcendental meditation, did you?
I did, yes.
Hang on a minute, because the piece of fruit, I've done this, the piece of fruit and the handkerchief.
What can you take then? Banana?
No, well, you can take some piece of fruit and a handkerchief. It's a tradition. I've done it. When did you do transcendental meditation, you old head?
Years ago, but since then I've bought a disc. I've got a pair of goggles you put on when you put the disc on and start it playing.
Yeah.
That gives you a sort of a mantra.
I've got a mantra. I've got a mantra. My boys keep asking me to tell them. I keep saying, I ain't telling you. It's a secret.
Oh, yeah, well, I said I did that for some time.
Yeah.
Into self-induced meditation.
Yes.
Self-induced hypnosis.
Yes.
Yes. You can fly if you do it the right way.
Yogic flying. He's talking about that. How the hell do you know about this, Donovan? Yeah, the yogic flying. Although I was disappointed by the yogic flying. If you've ever seen a video of it, it's not really flying.
I've seen it. They like bounce around the backside.
Bouncing around with crossed legs. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do. Do you still do it, Dem?
No, I stopped doing it some time ago.
I still do it. I do it twice a day for 20 minutes. I tend to do it once a day, but I still do it. I have a little meditation. Just clears my thoughts.
I've got this device, a pair of goggles you put on.
Yes.
And the disc.
Yes.
All joined together. Instead of going to music, I can't remember which music, but the lights start flashing on and off, which also hypnotises you.
Yeah.
And you start counting backwards from 100, that's the business. By the time you get to about 95, you're beginning to fade out.
Well, exactly. I mean, you're probably a little bit closer to talking to the dead than any of us.
Well, that's bizarre. But I bought a thing tonight to put by the side of the bed so that if I can't sleep, I press a button, you get either birds tweeting, water flush. Not flushing, because otherwise you're out of bed having a pee.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, no, you can get those alarm clocks that do that, and then they can, I was looking at getting those alarm clocks that wake you up with natural light.
Yeah, I was going to do that, but then it's not fair on whoever you're sleeping with.
Well, also, I don't have a day job, so I don't need to wake up. Very rarely do I need to wake up.
I've got thin curtains.
Yeah.
Job done.
I've got kids, so if I need to wake up, or even if I don't need to wake up, they'll wake me up, so that's that problem solved, then.
I go at 2, I go to bed at 2 o'clock, and I wake at 6. Pop up. My missus goes into the bathroom. Now, she could make a rubber dustbin clang.
Yes.
But there's a lot of noise on there. But, no, I'm up, breakfast, have a little...
This is the thing that worries me about getting older more than anything else, is you don't sleep as much. Because you don't need that much sleep when you're old.
Well, ours is in the afternoon.
I like sleeping.
I've got some exercise machines as well, so to keep active,
Do you see what you don't see anymore? And I've been to gyms all across the world. You don't see chest expanders. Remember chest expanders?
Yes, I've got a set of those.
But you don't...
In cartoons, you always trap your nipples or your chest hair in
Yeah,
those.
but I had some chest expanders when I was a kid, and
Obviously.
You don't... Oh, shut up. Well, you could have done with a set, but you don't. I'm
doing all right, thanks.
You don't see those anymore, and I wonder if that's because they were rubbish.
Put your foot in one of the handles and use the other one as well.
Oh yeah, but you've got we've all done this. Your foot slipped and it's gone flying in your face.
That's right.
Yeah. Dennis, good to talk to you, man. Thank you very much indeed. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Here's a story.
I had a hypnosis CD for when I was pregnant. It's supposed to mean that it comes out like a wet seal, but it didn't. The drugs helped. But actually, I never heard that CD more than about 10 minutes of it because it made me go to sleep every time.
Yeah, great story.
You're so rude. You're so rude.
Chat show. Well, you just mocked a bloke who went up to the Pleiades.
I never.
As chat show revelations go, Jean-Luc Picard's admission on the Graham Norton show couldn't have been any more personal. Well, you need to listen to this show in the rabbit hole. If you want to hear personal admissions...
It doesn't get much more personal.
Speaking of rabbit holes, I mean, yeah.
Flipping out.
And though the BBC One programme is known for its adult tone, Jean-Luc Picard soon regretted his candour.
His name isn't Jean-Luc Picard, that's
I don't know his real name. Jean-Luc Picard, 76, told how he mistakenly thought he was circumcised
No, I don't believe it.
for much of his life.
This is a Brian Blessed.
Until a doctor told him he was not. Now, I've never worked with Jean-Luc. I've had no contact. But I do know... I did know a couple of people who were up and coming in the acting world, right? And Jean-Luc would badger them, or Hector, whichever one you want to go for, both fit, to, this was a few years ago, but to be prominent and to speak out in favour of the Labour Party.
Oh.
Probably the general election when the coalition got in. He was badgering and hectoring a couple of friends of mine to, because they were celebrities, to speak up in favour of the Labour Party.
So you think that's got a connection with his penis?
Well, no, I'm just saying he's a pain. He thought he was circumcised for much of his life until a doctor told him he was not. Jean-Luc long believed he had undergone the procedure as a child, but that an intimate moment with his wife led to him getting checked out by a doctor.
Oh.
He told Norton, "No, see, I could probably do Jean-Luc." "Make it so, Mr. Wolf." So he says, "Make it right." I'm just trying to find...
I like the preparation noise.
Well, I put a lot of work into my characters. Let me find... Hang on a minute. Let me find a clip of him saying something. Hang on a minute.
He's a Yorkshireman, really, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's RP, because he's been to RADA, isn't
posh.
he? Jean-Luc Picard talking. Let's see what comes up. Here we go. Let's have a look. There's an advert coming up. Let's pause the adverts. He's kind of actory, but not that actory.
What about, did they hold the boldness against you? I mean, was there a feeling that...
Fair play. Michael Parkinson asks the best questions. Listen to this. This is a cracking question from Parky. This is why Parky is the king of the chat shows.
What about, did they hold the
What
boldness...
about Michael Bublé? It's just... you miserable old sexist.
What about, did they hold the boldness against you? I mean, was there a feeling that perhaps in the 24th century, which is when this thing is...
Right, yes, that came up at the very first press conference. A reporter asked Gene Roddenberry...
Gene Roddenberry.
Look.
A reporter asked Gene Roddenberry... Look, that's not bad. It's getting there. It's in the right town. I haven't quite found the estate yet, but it's in the... A reporter asked Gene Roddenberry. Look. He told Norton, one night with my wife, as you do, we were talking about stuff, and I mentioned my circumcision. And she said, "You're not circumcised." I said, "What do you mean?" "That's ridiculous. I should know. All my life, my mother has told me it was fashionable at the time." He reported. That's not bad.
Well...
For a first go, you do, Jean-Luc.
I'm not a man.
Thank you.
No, that was me doing.
He reported how, during a checkup the next day, he asked his doctor, "I am circumcised, aren't I?" He took a closer look and said, "Not. I am Jewish. And definitely know the difference." They should have got him out and compared. Look, that's not circumcised. This is a circumcised one.
Do you know in America they do it as a matter of course?
Yeah, I know they do.
Little boys, because
I think it's abuse. I think it's abuse to cut the end of a boy's winkle off.
My sister gave birth in America to 2 little boys.
Yeah.
One at a time. And with her first one, they dose them up.
Yeah.
They dosed them up. So she was on quite a lot of medication, drugs. And she remembers saying, when she had the boy, she said, make sure they don't castrate him.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah, mixed it up.
Our youngest had to be circumcised because he had terrible problems with his bladder and his kidney. One of his kidneys wasn't wired up to his bladder properly. It was, the tube was kind of like the wrong way round or something. And so he was getting terrible infections, and he got really, really poorly. And he was touch and go for a bit. So they had to do an operation on him when he was, I guess, 18 months, something like that. It seems like such a long time ago now. And it was also all-consuming at the time. And they had to do an operation and kind of they had to take a tube out of somewhere else and use that to reconnect his bladder and his kidney. And they said because this may flare up at any point, and he's more prone to getting urinary infections, you're best to have him circumcised so that will reduce the risk of there being any dirt or anything. And I remember being we were always going to do it because the doctor said do it and was like, well, we're not going to be stupid and not follow his advice. But I do remember thinking, I felt quite uncomfortable about the fact that it was going to happen, that something so permanent was being done to my little boy. And I do think, whether it be for religious reasons or for cultural reasons or whatever, I do think it's abusive to cut the end of to cut the foreskin off. And people say, well, you don't need it. And the reason that people of faith do it is, because back in the day, you get sand and all kinds of stuff trapped in it, but we are hygienic now. We clean, we bathe every day, we shower every day. I just think it's abusive to do it, and I've never got it. And I've never spoken about it. I don't have that many Jewish friends, but I've never spoken about it with a Jewish friend and said, but what? Come on, man, you must know that is distressing to do that to a baby. That's an unpleasant thing. Do Muslims do it? I think Muslims do it as well, don't they? I think so. I think so. So it's not just a Jewish thing. I just think it's a thoroughly unpleasant thing to do to a baby. It's not been done to Jean-Luc Picard. Good evening, Mark.
Hello, Ian.
Hello, Mark.
Hello. So I've just been put through to your show, and I'm sort of been a little bit nervous.
Okay. Did you call up?
I did, indeed.
Okay, so it's not a complete surprise?
Well, it's an impulsive thing. It's a little bit delicate. It's basically to do with what's going on with the Brexitism and Donald Trumpism, and basically the effect it's having on my marriage, which I've learnt tonight from my wife for 24 years is seeking to separate from myself because of our separate views, which basically outlandishes. I accuse her of her character's very different. She's seeming more like Donald Trump these days than she was 2 years ago. I really don't know what to say, and I'm sorry, I'm a little bit... it's an impulse to call your show, and I've been with her for 24 years. Well, basically, we've been married 24 years, and she's my best friend. Not really entirely know what to tell you, but it's just this anger inside her, and this whole sort of one-sided point of view, which is really shocking to see in someone you've known for so many years. Hello?
Yeah. I have no idea what you're talking about.
My marriage is collapsing due to Donald Trump.
How? Okay, I'll give it. I'll go along for 2 minutes. Why? What's Donald Trump got to do with it? Has he grabbed your wife by the what's it?
But if I may explain, we're both retired barristers. And we've seen quite a lot in our lives in terms of people's views, points, and the way things are. My wife, which I thought I believe we're very liberally minded in inviting people into our country. A whole basis. I'm Jewish, and my wife was actually German. Is German, but her parents were. We're both immigrants in this country, and. Just to see the point of view of...
what do you think about circumcision?
Why would you say such a thing?
Well, because we were just talking about it while you were waiting to come on.
Well, I apologise, Ian. I spoke to your researchers on the phone and just asked them if it was appropriate to speak out. The reason why I wanted to call was...
Well, what do you think about circumcision?
Well, circumcision is a good thing.
Why?
Well, because...
I think it's abusive.
Well, depends if... depends on the size of your penis, and depends if...
you're doing it to babies. If you're doing it to babies, though, they've got small penises.
No. I kind of see it, and this is actually wrong, without a child actually having its own permission.
Right. Are you circumcised?
Yes.
Right. And don't you feel that part of you is missing?
Yes, and very metaphorically speaking, I find half the country quite missing, really, with this. I think we've been completely circumcised without really having our own permissions granted. So thank you for bringing that up. Really,
you're very welcome. I just think that kids having a bit of their penis cut off. I just think it's abusive, and I don't understand why any faith or cultural reason for doing it.
Ian, I absolutely agree with you, and it's barbaric, and this is my point, really.
It's not, is it?
We are back in the medieval world.
No, we're not.
And these medieval...
Where did you study law?
Which, from circumcision to marriage convenience...
Where did you study law?
It doesn't believe in... It shouldn't be in this part of our society.
Where did you study law?
Why would you ask?
Where did you study law?
Ian, where have you studied law?
I didn't say I was a barrister.
I said I'm a barrister. What does that have to do with you? I'm just explaining about my circumstances.
Where did you study law?
My partner. Why are you asking that?
Because I don't believe you studied law.
No, because I see where you're going with
I
this.
don't believe you studied law.
Why would you not even... Who's told you that? That's a very... why are you trying to disguise the question to what I'm trying to imply about...
Mark, this is terrible, man. Listen, fair play. You've phoned up, and you've had a crack, and we've had a bit of fun, and I've indulged you a bit, and you've indulged my nonsense, and that's great.
Ian,
but this is terrible.
Ian, may I ask you, sir? I've actually called up, and I actually asked your researchers...
Yes.
...about a very serious... thing, which
Where did you study law?
Impacting on no, because you've been a very terrible journalist.
I'm not a journalist.
Just divert the question to my answer. Why
I'm not a journalist.
I'm actually talking about relationships and the impact of.
I'm talking about penises and where you studied law.
Why are you trying to question? Would you like to look up my details online?
No, I don't know why you're being so jumpy about it. If someone to ask me where I studied, I'd tell you.
Because I feel a little bit insulted because you're actually just questioning who I am.
No, not at all. You're getting very paranoid, Mark. You're getting very paranoid.
Ian, listen, you're a radio presenter. You want to talk over people. That's fine.
No, Mark.
I thought your radio station.
I'm giving you
listening to people.
No,
not about a radio presenter who wants to talk over.
Mark, I'm giving you 3 out of 10 for this. Very, very poor effort. Very poor effort.
He could have done a lot better being Sven, of course.
Of course he could.
But
fair play. You phoned up and you listen. We had no callers. You phoned up to make up a story about it, and you had a go, and it's great. This just isn't one of those kind of shows that you can phone up and prank.
I'm actually trying to explain about the partnership.
No, Mark, it's not working. The gag isn't working.
Tory and just would not refuse to listen to other people in the world.
The gag isn't working, mate. I'm saving you any further embarrassment.
So you are on the Alan Partridge grave shift. Good night.
Thank you, Mark. The gag wasn't working, mate. You've embarrassed yourself. You tried to prank call a show. You kind of put the phone down. You've tried to prank call a show that is kind of impossible to prank because we welcome anybody on the show. So, and Alan Partridge does mid-mornings, of course, mid-morning matters. So, you
attempted pwn fail.
Mark, that was, I was prepared. The thing is, listen, I don't mind playing along with a wind-up, but at least make it interesting and funny. You know, if you're going to do it, make it interesting, make it funny, make it controversial if you want, but that was neither of those things. Mark, I appreciate the effort, mate. Do try again. Thank you. 0344 499 1000. Late Nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Late night conversation worth losing sleep over. Iain Lee.
On air and off the leash.
On Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
Oh, he's a comedian, was he? Right. Okay, should have made that clearer in the call by being funny. You can't prank this show because we let anyone on. There's no filter. Whenever we have the few times we have a guest producer, I always say, listen, the only rule I've got is if they wouldn't normally get on, put them at the front of the queue. You can't prank this show. You know, but, I mean... well, anyway, listen, I'm not going to knock the lad. He had a crack.
Well, also,
he had a crack.
Be a little bit gracious about it if you get found out.
Yeah, exactly. Evening, Keith.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Hi, Catherine.
Hi.
I was thinking about the stuff that you were talking about
in the last hour.
Yeah.
You know, the mystical stuff and that sort of thing. And I think you're going about it like via the long route.
Go on. What's the short route?
So, do you know what? I've been sort of hearing a lot about and then reading a little bit about DMT. Are you aware of those?
The drug?
The substance. I don't really want to call it a drug. It's a substance.
But it's a drug,
that
though.
exists in everything.
What do you mean, it exists in everything?
So, it is kind of... You could describe it as a drug.
Right. Well, it's a drug, isn't it?
Yeah, but the evidence suggests that DMT exists within every single thing in the entire world that we know.
Are you tripping now, man? Because this is the kind of stuff I would have spouted 25 years ago.
Do you know what? Do you know what? Me too. And I don't do drugs anymore.
And I just have to say, and I know this, you know, but I do. My boss has pulled me up a couple of times saying, well, you got a bit close to encouraging people to take drugs, that show. I have a history of drugs. I haven't had a drink or a drug for nearly 12 and a half years, and my life is a whole lot better without any of those things in there. So don't do drugs, kids, like you're gonna listen to me. Anyway, I've done that. Go on.
I will back that up as well, and I said, don't do drugs, kids. Drugs are bad.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, kids aren't going to listen to a couple of old farts like us. They'll be at home now with their bongs going, listen to these idiots. Have another hit on this.
They're all chasing DMT.
Yes, man.
But do you know what? DMT is an interesting one, and I haven't done it, and I probably never will.
Good.
Because it scares me a little bit. But
if it's in everything, can't you just lick yourself and get high?
No one's seen Keith for a while. He's in the house licking himself.
Licking himself off. Oh, I didn't mean it to sound like that.
I mean.
Didn't mean it to sound like... Didn't mean that!
Catherine, you always take it to the gutter.
I never took it there.
Oh, I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like that. Sorry.
I'm rubbing my ribs, I'm frotting my tree.
Hey, it's fun. Now, here, can I just say... Did you just say frotting?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because today... For the first time in years, I thought of the word frottage.
Oh, right.
And I don't know why. I know exactly why I thought of it, because I was on a really crowded train, so the word
people love
frottage
that, don't they?
popped up into my head. And the thing about frottage, this is when you rub yourself against other people for sexual pleasure.
I've been the victim of that.
And there's a really weird book about John Lennon written by his manservant, David, I think it's David Seaman. And he talks about how they go on, Fred Seaman. They go on
David Seaman's a goalie.
No, I know. They go on a train. Him and John Lennon go on a train, and then the lights go out, and everyone starts a bit of frottage.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how to use it in the correct... but it always reminds me of cottage cheese. I always think of cottage cheese. Cottage... Imagine if the only thing you had to eat for the rest of your life was cottage cheese.
It's just French for frotter is to rub. So frottage is rubbing.
Well, so what is cottage cheese then? Where's that rubbed from?
Off a cheese.
But yeah, I hadn't thought of the word frottage for a long, long time, and you've mentioned it, which means maybe
it's time.
Time to rub.
Well, do you know what? I've been rubbing all day long.
Steady.
It's been a long week of rubbing.
How's the meat business going?
Man, do you know what? This has been the busiest week of my life. It's been mental.
How does it work? You've got... How old's your business?
About 18 months old.
And is it just you?
Yeah.
Right, and so you haven't got premises or anything. How does it work?
So, I've got a sort of a premises of sorts.
Yeah.
I have a commercial prep kitchen.
Yeah.
Where all the rubbing goes on, in my bear cave. And I supply goods to the restaurant industry. And
it's going all right. You're doing okay out of it.
Do you know what? I have enough.
Yeah. That's it, isn't it? That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I've got enough. And do you know what? I'm a lot happier than I used to be.
Yeah.
I used to have like a proper job and shiz. And I quite like not having a proper job.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I mean, I've not had a proper job for years. You know, the closest thing to a proper job was the Three Counties show, because it was, we'd get in at 5 and I'd leave about midday. I mean, that's still not a full day, but that's, you know, it's kind of the longest hours I've worked in years and years and years. And I often think if I hadn't got lucky, right, if I hadn't got on the TV, or if when the TV work dried up, I hadn't got offered a job on LBC, and LBC, David Lloyd and Scott Solder totally saved my life and my career. If that hadn't happened, I would have ended up, I'd be in a real job by now, proper job, and I couldn't do it. I don't think I could do it, you know. I mean, I could do it for my family and stuff, and of course, you know, I'd do anything to feed the boys and keep the roof over their heads. But, you know, I talk about being suicidal now. I don't think I could do an actual proper job. The hours and the grind.
I've reached that stage now where I've been kind of out of the 9 to 5 long enough where I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't. It's the people, you know?
Who was it we were talking to the other day who said that after a while... Oh, maybe I heard it on the radio. After a while, it occurs to you after everybody else that what you're doing is your actual job. Everyone else has realised before you have.
Yeah.
And that's the situation, I think, with us, isn't it? I've realised that this is my job now, and I've been doing it for 15 years. But all my friends and my family have come round to the idea a lot sooner than that.
Yeah,
it's not proper, though, is it?
I don't know. And the wheels will come off. You know, this gravy train.
I don't know what else I would do
at some point, and I don't know. I mean, I've started making a little bit of money out of writing stuff for Record Collector, but it's not enough. I mean, last year I probably made 1,200 quid out of writing for Record Collector. So that
but the pressure wasn't on. You weren't pursuing it.
No, the pressure wasn't on, so I wasn't pursuing it. The TV work has dried up and has gone, apart from, you know, Sky News and stuff, which I'm turning down at the moment because I don't really want to work on a Sunday morning.
Again, you're not hammering that.
You know, the rabbit hole is, you know, there's a couple of quid. It would be one of those things where it would be piecemeal and it would be small bits and pieces trying to, but, when this does end, and it will end, this show will end, guys. It ain't going to be here forever, you know, and as much as I'd like to see out my radio days at Talk Radio, and I would happily stay here for another 30 years, who knows what's going to happen? You know, I've got another year on my contract. Who knows what's going to happen? And after that, what do you do?
I've got about 2 weeks on mine.
Uh-oh. Well, it's been nice knowing you. Smell you later.
No, but the thing is, you know, for me, and I think like you guys as well, you know, I'm working in an industry that I love.
Yeah.
You know, the restaurant industry, food, drinks, wine, you know, that sort of thing. And it's you know, you love it. You love the industry. And whatever it is you do within that industry, you absolutely love it, and you're just happy to be doing something within that particular business.
Yeah.
And, you know, for you guys it's radio. For me it's I suppose hospitality is the word. And it's just, you know, you will always find a job within that industry that you like. And, you know, you're lucky you've got your other little bits and pieces that you're doing. But, I mean, Kath, if you've got 2 weeks on your contract, you know, you can always come round and, like, you know, rub some ribs with me.
I'm not going to say no to anything at this point. We'll wait and see what happens in 2 weeks.
Okay, well, you know, bear me in mind.
Keith, nice one, man. Thank you very much indeed. Keep up the good work. It's excellent meat, guys.
It is really good.
But that's I'm still only a meat eater. What, 3 years now? So all meat tastes good to me. Even the worst meat tastes good to me. Oh yeah, love it, love all of it. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. I was reminded of something while we were talking to Keith, and it's just tiredness has set in, and it's just slipped my my noggin. Don't do drugs.
Meat is good.
Meat is good. Working. I don't know what I was going to say. So that's the one good... There's only 2 good stories in the papers. So the one good story is Jean-Luc Picard not realising that he's not had a circumcision.
I can't believe that's true.
Well, here's the thing. I can kind of his mum told him, you see. And some men's... Oh, let's just say it. Foreskins. Cover the helmet. I don't know how to. And I'm not being vulgar. I'm trying to do this. Some men's foreskins cover the tip of the penis, and some don't.
Yeah.
And if yours doesn't, and
maybe
your mum says,
partial.
and your mum, I mean, well, I wonder if it's because he's got a bald head. If he wears a roll neck sweater.
Stop it.
But I do. If his mum said to him, "Oh, Jean-Luc, you're
Where's she French? All of a sudden,
well, Jean-Luc Picard is French.
He's from Yorkshire.
Jean-Luc Picard is French, mate.
No, he's not.
Jean-Luc Picard is.
I think he's supposed to be French Canadian.
Jean-Luc, I'm doing the French Canadian. We have done to your winky. How do you say? What is it? François, what is it? What is it? The circumcision, and he got your quatre skin. And the how do you what is it? With the scissors, he choppy chop. He choppy chop your
Why is
winky.
she talking to him like that? Surely he'd speak French as well.
Well, they don't know.
Maybe that's why the misunderstanding.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, frottage. That's what you were talking about. Or have we done that now?
No, I think we've done that. John Lennon was a very, very dirty boy.
Of course he was.
I mean, he was a wife beater.
Do we know that?
Yes, we do know that. He hit Cynthia a few times. We know that. That's not that's not a secret. Heroin addict. Wrote a song that we can't play on the radio. "Woman is the N-word of the world." That came
I think
up
he
on...
meant well. But,
Oh, we meant well. Well, also, I was thinking about this because it popped up on my iPod the other day, and I was singing along in the car, nice and loud. "Woman is the N-word of the world. Yes, she is. Think about it. Take a look at the one you love." And it's a women's lib song, and it's a bit heavy-fisted. It's a nice backing track. It's got a nice sax solo in it. And I was singing along to it quite loudly. And the N-word in the 70s was... Which is why I think it confuses a lot of people, particularly Americans. But the N-word in the 70s was very liberally used by black and white people. The Blazing Saddles. I haven't seen Blazing Saddles, the Mel Brooks film, for a long, long time. But from what I remember, the two things I remember are the fart scene and the use of the N-word.
Yeah.
A lot.
Was it a reclaiming thing?
No, I don't think it was reclamation in the 70s. I think it was just a word that people used. And I think it was used in a derogatory term, but it was used in common. I mean, I think a lot of the Gene Wilder, Richard Pryor films have the M-word in. I think Silver Streak, which is a magnificent film. I remember watching it loads and loads as a kid. There's a bit, and I've shown you the bit where, Gene Wilder blacks up with boot polish, and he has to learn how to walk like an N-word, and he's carrying a radio on his thing. He's got a red, gold, and green knitted cap on, blacked up, going, "I'm an N-word, I'm an N-word, I'm an N-word," and he's.
But was that outrageous then? Was that what he was trying to do?
I don't know if it's outrageous. I don't know the context. But I love those films because what I learnt as a kid watching those films is there is nothing funnier than Richard Pryor and or Gene Wilder saying the S word over over and over again. And people who say that swearing isn't funny or clever, go and watch Stir Crazy or Silver. I remember watching Stir Crazy when I was about 9. We hired it out on Betamax, and it's just in hysterics at that. They can deliver an S word unlike anybody else, those two gentlemen. Absolutely fantastic. Here we go. Look at this. Stu, I don't think we were belittling anyone, but if we do, I apologise. Ian and Kath, you're being reflective about life and stuff, and I concur. I'm a writer with some success, but to pay the bills, I make pizzas. It's a job. You should never belittle anyone who does a job, even a chance. I don't know if we were. I don't know if you're criticising us for us. But I always say, anyone that can make $1 in this business, I have the ultimate respect for. Even if I don't like the act, or I don't like necessarily the person, I know how hard it is to, get paid, make ends meet doing this business. And there are people that hate me and troll me, and, people that have had high-profile careers and now have low-profile careers. I don't like the act, don't necessarily like the person, but I wish them they've got kids and stuff. I wish them every bit of luck. I do, genuinely. Yeah. I wish them every bit of luck. I wish that they wouldn't attack me so much, because it's quite upsetting. I don't get why they're so mean about me when I've done nothing. I don't get why they attack me. But I wish him gives it away a bit. But there are a couple, actually. I wish them every success, because their careers don't impact on me. You know, the people I'm talking about, the two in particular, it's not as if I'm ever going to go for their jobs, and I wish them the best of luck.
I'm a bit confused by what he means, but with that message.
He's not having a go at us, I don't think. No.
I did say something like, what I'm doing is not a proper job.
No, I don't think he is.
I wasn't referring to anybody else.
Stu, sometimes the meaning doesn't come across in email. Maybe you could go to talkradio.co.uk and just clarify, or you could pick up the telephone. 03444991000 is the telephone number. Late Nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Late Night Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
Okay, guys, well, the mystery of where our guest was has been solved. Just had a message from him. He was on another phone call that lasted 90 minutes, and he has 10 computers. So that's where he was. He was taking another phone call. I'll read you the message. Iain, I had a call that lasted 90 minutes. Only got the text now. Phone me. I have 10 computers. I don't have a secretary to remind me. Call. Don't send stupid email messages. I'm not sitting at a desk looking at mail at day and night. Well, I know. I wouldn't expect you to be. Of course I wouldn't expect you to be. Not if you've got 10 computers. I would kind of expect you to be sitting by the phone waiting for the phone call we booked. But that's fine. I replied, Miles, sorry about that. The show's about to end. Maybe we can talk next week, because it would be great to get him on. So that's good. It's the friendly attitude that we like. Lovely. Now, here we go. This is the only other decent story. Yes, but phone me. Remind me. Okay. Sorry. I did... This isn't going to end well. Remind you on here. Apologies.
We didn't have his mobile number, did we?
Know where you were or have your mobile. It's all cool. I'm on air now. Let's speak next week. Take care. Phone me. Remind me. I am BVE midweek for 2 days. Okay. Yeah, and it's the warm, welcoming attitude that sells it for me. Bees learn to play football. That's the best story I can come up with. It's the best story that I can come up with.
Confusing team-wise, though. They're all in stripes.
Hey. Bees versus wasps gets nasty. Wasps play rugby. Scientists, and this is true, scientists have trained bees. We're all looking at the Facebook to see if he's not received that message, so maybe somewhere else. Call for 90 minutes. You knew that at 10 o'clock on Friday. You put it on your Facebook page, you silly sausage. A call for 90 minutes. I don't care how long it...
Anyway.
Scientists have trained bees to play football in a bizarre study. The insects learnt how to kick the ball around a pitch and score goals.
Well...
They were rewarded with a sweetened drink each time they succeeded. Researchers first showed them what to do by using a pretend bee. A piece of striped yellow and black plastic attached to a stick. Other bees learned by watching those which had already been taught. Playing one at a time, they had to push or pull the ball into a hole in the playing surface. They got quicker at scoring by improving their ball control as their training progressed. This is incredible. Okay, how do I reply to this?
Don't.
I don't sit on the sofa waiting. Look, mate, I don't sit on social media all day. I have better things to do.
Leave it.
Okay. Leave it in, he's not worth it.
No, just let it go. Because he's not going to stop.
You were booked to come on, you pudding! We booked you! It's on your Facebook page! You put it on your Facebook page!
Don't.
Look, mate.
Bees, anyway. The bees.
They got Professor Lars Chitka, should be Lars Schitka, who led the Queen Mary University of London study, said it suggested bees would be able to adapt to changes in their natural environment. He added, "Our study puts the final nail in the coffin of the idea small brains constrain insects to have only simple learning abilities." Well, they communicate via dance, don't they, bees? I only found this out recently.
The waggle dance, but they're ingenious.
They dance to tell other bees where the sweet nectar is, and they can tell you how far and how to get there, directions. It's incredible.
Turns out they can also do a nice rabona.
The bees, you can ignore that. The bees seem to enjoy playing with the ball and learned how to score very quickly. But I don't think we'll be seeing any of them playing at Wembley anytime soon.
Too small.
Animal welfare... Animal welfare groups last night blasted the study after it was revealed that 5 of the 49 bees died from natural causes during it. Oh, come on, guys. They're bees.
Not because of sliding tackles or anything like that.
The Sun has had some fun here.
I bet.
It's come up with some football playing but I don't know any football players, so I'm kind of manager. I get this. Matt Busby.
Yes, good, very funny.
Titus
Bramble, yep, that's his name.
Nectar Bellarin.
No.
Wayne Roonby.
Yeah, okay.
Chris Smallsting.
No idea.
Darren Huckabee.
Oh.
Gordon McQueen.
Right.
It's a good one. I know this one. Park B. Stung. It's the Korean lad.
Mm. What about Kevin Began?
No.
Oh, they missed one.
There's Pollen Gascoigne. Apiary Kane.
Okay.
Hive Allen. Swarming Whiteside. Subs. Vinnie Drones.
Swarming Whiteside. That's quite good.
Vinnie Drones and Buzzy Is It. And that's it. And that's it. That is the best.
Done, guys.
Those are the only 2 stories that I could come up with in all of the newspapers today. You know.
Don't.
I know. I don't sit on the sofa waiting. Look, mate. I don't sit on social media all day. I have better things to do. Yeah, look, mate. I had to fill an hour of radio because you were taking a 90-minute phone call. So don't look, mate.
It's very bizarre behaviour.
We'll get him on next week. I'm tempted to get him on and have this conversation on air.
But let's leave it and calm down, shall we?
I'm going to close that because I don't want to reply.
Do.
Not replying to you. There we go. People, huh?
He won't be there anyway because he's not on social media.
Short people got no reason. Short people got no reason. Literally got nothing to fill the last 4 minutes of the show with.
Let's think of some more beekeepers.
Well, no, let's not bother. We haven't got anything. We've done really, really well. We've done a successful filling. We have. We've done a really good filling. So I'm quite happy to end it there.
I'm tired of you.
Fine, let's pack up. And go home, because it's boiling. Listen, mate.
Love that. It's the element of surprise, though.
On the phone call for 90 minutes.
You're totally in the wrong, but...
Yeah, no, sorry, you're right. We should have held the show back for 90 minutes. I do apologise.
Outrageous you're trying to contact him.
He's upset that I didn't call him to remind him. That's what he's...
Gosh. Okay. Whatever gets you through. Don't.
I'm not going to. I'm just going to look, see if...
Don't.
I'm not going to. I'm just going to look, see if he's typed anything.
He won't, because he doesn't sit there typing.
Look, mate.
People are funny, aren't they?
Okay. I'm sorry, right. Okay.
No, don't write anything.
Do you want to try next week?
Don't.
Do you want to try next week?
Don't.
You will have seen my little bubbly
leave it.
Typing.
Leave it. Let him win.
What do you mean let him win? I'm not going to let anyone. But now you've said it's a winning thing. You can't let him win.
Call him next week and pretend it never happened. Stop it.
I'm not.
Don't.
I'm done. Sharp people got no reason.
That is hilarious.
Sharp people. Listen, mate. No reason. Do you want to have some Andrew's liver sauce before
No,
we
I
go?
don't, and neither do you. Oh. Blind.
That's not my pen. That is my watch.
Don't forget your books.
Go. Oh, I'll forget that.
Night scopers.
Sharp people got no reason. Sharp people.
What are you singing?
Short People by Randy Newman.
Talk Radio. Talk and entertainment across the nation.
Talk Radio.
Give it some lip.